Hey guys, so today I'm going to do another ranking video, and this one is going to be on my top 50 JRPGs. Yeah, Japanese RPGs that I played on my channel. I played hundreds of JRPGs on my channel, thousands of games overall, so this should be a pretty interesting list. Yeah, so last time I made this video, this kind of video, I think I went over like the top 30, so I'm expanding it to 50 this time, and really the only requirement is that it has to be by a Japanese dev. You know, I'm just keeping it simple, Japanese dev, JRPG, right? I know some people like to get these terms mixed up here because you have games like Clair Obscur and then Chained Echoes and Sea of Stars, like games that are JRPG-like by a Western developer, but the thing is, that makes it so like hard to determine what is a JRPG and what's not, right? If you're gonna say it's a style, well then that gets very nebulous, right? You know, like what is exactly that style? You know, is it turn-based? But then not all JRPGs are turn-based, right? And there's like Japanese RPGs that could be more Western style as well. So you're opening like a big box with that definition. So I think for me, I keep it simple, Japanese dev, JRPG, not Japanese dev, not a JRPG. Yeah, just simple as that, you know, easy to have that distinction there. So anyways, yeah, and go over top 50 JRPGs that I played on my channel. So yeah, stay tuned for this. All right, so I'm going to start off with an honorable mention, as I usually do with these kind of rankings. And yeah, I'm going to start off with an honorable mention to Sailor Moon: Another Story, which came out in 1995 for the Super Nintendo. This is a Japan-only RPG, of course, based on the popular anime manga series Sailor Moon. Yeah, and you will see some Japan-only RPGs on this list, by the way. I do want to highlight some of them and also make people aware, and I did play them on my channel, right? So
the fact that this is like
counts. So anyways, I do like this RPG. I mean, I'm not like a huge Sailor Moon fan or anything like that, but I did watch it back in the day, right? It was just so popular back in the 90s, so of course I watched Sailor Moon. But I also think this is a really well done RPG, right? You do play as Usagi, right, who's the main character of Sailor Moon, but also with all the different Sailor Scouts, yes, all the way up to Sailor Saturn. They're all in here, and Sailor Mini Moon, you know, they're all here. So yeah, you control the entire party here. You go around and you explore the world, and yeah, it's basically I don't know why this didn't come out to the West. Maybe because it was already kind of late in the Super Nintendo cycle, but 1995, I mean, by that time, Sailor Moon was already pretty popular in the West too, right?
Come here in this.
So yeah, I don't know why this game never came out in the West and never got officially localized, but I think it would have been pretty popular. Like, you play like Sailor Moon and her, the other Sailor Scouts, her friends, of course, and you fight different battles, different enemies and stuff across the, you know, across the regular world in Japan and also across the cosmos as well. So basically, it's what really fans would have been looking for in the mid-90s from a Sailor Moon RPG, and that's exactly what it is. It gives fans what they want, right? And I think it's done pretty well. So anyways, it's a pretty solid Sailor Moon RPG, I'd say. I don't know if there's many other Sailor RPG games. I don't know how many other Sailor Moon RPG games there are, but definitely this one is pretty well done, I would say. I really enjoyed playing my time with it. The encounter rate is pretty high, but that's just par for the course if you're talking about a 90s JRPG and random encounters and stuff. You just got to get used to that. That's just how it was back then. But yeah, you have all the enemies and stuff that you might expect, and yeah, I even have Sailor Saturn here, you know, the last Sailor Scout to appear in the series. So basically all your characters are here. So yeah, very fun RPG to play. Didn't quite make my list because there's so many great JRPGs, of course, but of course I have to mention it as well. I think more people should know about Sailor Moon: Another Story. It is a great JRPG, especially if you're a fan of Sailor Moon, or even if you're not, you know. So even if you're not a fan of Sailor Moon, I think it's still a fun RPG to play and check out. There's fan translation online, so yeah. Only thing is the encounter rate, yeah, is quite high, but that's just how it is for mid-90s. I mean, for 90s JRPGs, that's just how it is. Yeah, high encounter rates and random encounters. You just got par for the course there. Yeah, very fun, even if you're not a Sailor Moon fan. Alright, so at number 50, it's Akiba's Trip: Undead and Undressed, which is actually the second game in the Akiba series. And it's my favorite out of the series, because I really didn't like Akiba's Beat, and the first Akiba's game, Hellbound and Debriefed, wasn't quite as good. Yeah, Akiba's Trip is still my favorite, Undead and Undressed. Yeah, this one, which is the second game in the series. And I like it because a few reasons. First of all, I like that the main character is this otaku guy, and the whole premise of the game is that you get turned into a vampire.
And he's got an anime figurine.
And yeah, and you fight other vampires essentially. And how you beat them is you strip them of their clothing. Yeah, that's right. It's just got a very unique combat mechanic, stripping people of their clothes and everything in order to beat them. And the reason you're doing that is because their skin gets exposed to the sunlight and they evaporate basically because they're vampires. You know, vampires can't face the sunlight, right? So in order to beat them, you have to strip off their clothing. So it's yeah, very interesting. I've never played any other RPG that has the mechanics of this game. And you get to walk around in this it's not really open world, but this yeah, this map of Akihabara, right, in Tokyo, which is an otaku area, and I've been there in real life as well. Yeah, so it kind of seems familiar to me, but yeah, I like the whole concept, you know. You're an otaku, you're in the Akihabara.
She's an actual anime girl here.
Oh my god, it's super anime. Yeah, super otaku game.
Soft map hunt.
Super otaku game, and
Street performance here.
yeah, you got the anime girls, the idols, and everything, and the unique combat of stripping people of their clothes in order to beat them is very, very unique. So that's why I had to say about Kiba's Trip, Undead and Undressed. Yeah, the other Kiba games just aren't as good.
A lot of
this is, to me, by far the best. The second one in the series, and yeah, just very fun. You know, you use all these other weapons too. Like you customize your character, you use all these different weapons. Like I'm using this pink baseball bat here, and I'm wearing headphones and stuff. You can customize your character quite a bit. Yeah, and just the combat, right? Like stripping people of their clothes to beat them. I've never played any other RPG like this. So with this kind of combat mechanic. So yeah, just very, very fun to play. I think very unique and fun to play with the combat. So anyways, I actually like this game so much. I bought it on I bought it for PSP first, and then I bought it for Vita, I think, PS Vita, and then I bought it again for PC, and then I bought it for PS4. So I bought it, and I bought it for Switch. So I bought this game like so many times, you know, because I love it so much. Yeah. But anyways, I know mechanically as a game, it's kind of silly, I guess, which is why it's only 50 on this list. It is kind of a silly game, but hey, I like playing it, you know, and it makes my list because it was a fun game to play, stripping people of their clothing, you know. Yeah, it's just very fun, very silly and fun to play. Okay, so at number 49 is Saga Scarlet Grace Ambitions, which is my favorite Saga game, actually. Well, one of my favorites. I think Saga Frontier is really good too, and I think that one will be higher up on this list. But this is definitely close to being one of my favorite Saga games, and I think it's an underrated one. You know, people don't really talk about Scarlet Grace Ambitions. It's essentially an enhanced version of Saga's Scarlet Grace, and this came out for the Switch. That's what I'm playing on. I actually went through the entire game and beat it. Yeah, what I like about this game is first the art style is unique. Like when you walk around the world, right? Let's just say, yeah, when you walk around the world, it's like you're in like a pop-up book, basically. So yeah, basically you're walking around and like these things pop up. It's like in a pop-up book. So I guess that's kind of unique. And then when you're fighting, you can recruit many different characters, first of all. And I think this is the case for many Saga games, is you can just recruit a whole bunch of characters, like 100 or something like that. Of course, you're only going to use a few in battle, right? Also, what's unique is the combat system here. Like, you take turns, yes, but you have a limited amount of points, I guess, you can spend. And depending on how powerful your attack is, then you can only, like, if you use a more powerful attack, it's going to take up more points. And then another person might not be able to fight. You know, you got to be a little bit more strategic because certain skills take up more stars. Yeah, they're called stars. Certain things take up more stars. And if you take up more stars, then other people might not be able to attack in your party. You only have a limited amount of stars per turn. Every turn you get one more star. So you can do more powerful attacks as the battle wears on. So it's kind of a unique... it's a pretty unique combat system, I think. It's not just take your turn, do your battles and everything, and yeah, it's more like you gotta figure out how to plan your party's attack in a way that to optimize the number of stars that you have for that turn, right? So that's pretty interesting. combined with the the unique pop-up book type of graphics. Yeah, I think overall it's a pretty underrated JRPG. I think more people should check it out. I really did have fun with this one. So yeah, Sega Scarlet Grace Ambitions. I know this one really got slept on. You know, people don't really talk about it or anything. But yeah, I think more people should give it a chance because I did have fun with it. So that's my number 49 pick. Number 48 is Popo La Croix Story 2. So this is a Japan-only RPG released for the PlayStation 1, and it's part of the Popo La Croix franchise. So far as I know, there's only one Popo La Croix game released in the West, which is the one for PSP, which is a kind of a combination of the first and second games in the series. So this is the second game in the series, which is only Japan.
But it is random encounters.
Although you can
random encounters,
you can find a fan translation, which is how I'm playing it here. And I really like this game because it's kind of charming, right? You can see the graphics and everything. Yeah, the charming graphics kind of remind me of you know, like a Japanese anime, right? So it's but it's one of those cutesy Japanese animes, you know, like almost like Ghibli style, not really Ghibli style, but just one of those cutesy hand-drawn Japanese animes is what it reminds me of. So
Sakina Village.
Definitely a very unique art style.
Gilda's house, yeah. I think we gotta go to Gilda's house.
Yeah, the charming graphics really got me into this game, and the fact that you're playing as this little prince here, who's trying to save his kingdom.
12 years old, I think.
Yeah, so you're playing as a little prince with some guardian guys here, and trying to save the world, or save the kingdom, I should say. Yeah, and your monsters are your typical, it's typical turn-based combat. But what's funny is that the monsters just kind of drop down from the sky. You see, whenever you see a monster, like whenever you go into combat, the monsters just kind of drop down from the sky, and then you're in the combat. So yeah. Anyways,
what the hell?
I liked playing this game. I know the PSP version combines the first two, and that was officially localized. But if you play the first 1 and 2 games for PS1, like those are more expanded versions. I think the PSP is kind of like a cut down version. So I did play the number fully. The second game in the series, which is more expanded than the PSP version. So yeah, highly recommend it. You can pick up the fan translation online. So yeah, Popo La Croix Story 2 for the PSP. Very charming graphics and artwork, and gameplay is typical JRPG gameplay, but in an isometric style. So anyways, charming characters and everything as well. I just love the charm of this game. Yeah, Popo La Croix Story. Very distinctive graphics. Number 47 is Uncharted Waters New Horizons, a very underrated game for the Super Nintendo. Yeah, this game really surprised me. Like, first of all, yeah, it's so underrated. Like, this game's scope and breadth is huge. So basically, you play as you can choose from many different characters. I think 6 different characters here. Some of which are pirates, some of which are adventurers. But you can choose from 6 different, essentially seafarer types. Yeah. They're from different parts of the globe, from different parts of the planet. Some are merchants, some are pirates, you know. But once you choose one of them, you get different stories, right, and different goals. And eventually, though, for all of them, you need to be able to find a ship and then sail the world and do battles and stuff. And you have your typical RPG stuff. You go into towns and taverns, but you also have the ship management and the item inventory management stuff where you can buy stuff and unload things and just manage your inventory. You can buy new ships and sell ships. Like here we go. Here's some exchanging, right? So you can carry food. You can carry yeah, like this construction, this lumber, I guess. So you can do like inventory management here, and then when you're on a ship, you can do sea battles as well. So it's really kind of ambitious, you know. I also love the music in this game too. Great music. But yeah, it's just a super ambitious game because you have the typical RPG gameplay. I know the graphics don't seem like much here, but this is just one part of the gameplay, right? When you're on land, and then when you're in the ocean, you can do battle in the ocean, right? First, and then when you do battle in the ocean, it becomes like a tactical game where you move your pirate ship somewhere around, and then you attack them with cannons. And then sometimes you get to do battle with the commander or captain of a ship before you take it over. And then it's this kind of interface where you pick a card, I guess, and then you see, yeah, and then you see if you can beat them or not. So it's really interesting. Yeah, just a super ambitious game in terms of scope. Yeah, just managing your inventory, managing ships, going to different harbors, talking to people, doing naval battles, doing one-on-one duels. Like, very, very cool game. Yeah, I think more people should know about it. Uncharted Waters, New Horizons for the Super Nintendo. 46 is Bahamut Lagoon for the Super Nintendo. This is one of Squaresoft's later games for the Super Nintendo. Came out in '96. Really, yeah, this is one of their last games. Like, it came out Super Mario RPG, Bahamut Lagoon, Treasure of the Rudras. Like, these are some of Squaresoft's last games for the Super Nintendo. All of them are great. I mean, if you're talking about later Super Nintendo games and Super Nintendo RPGs and later Squaresoft games for the system, they're all really, really good. And Bahamut Lagoon is a prime example. You got great, I mean, 16-bit graphics, you know. In 1996, 16-bit graphics were peak. Peak Super Nintendo graphics. But what's cool about Bahamut Lagoon is not only is the story kind of, I would say the hero in the story is kind of unconventional in many ways. Especially the ending for this game is unconventional, I would say. But the gameplay is also interesting because it's tactical. Like, tactical in the way like Shining Force or Fire Emblem, right? You control your character, move it across the tile, and then you can decide what to do. But you have dragons. I mean, you control dragons that you can move in a tactical manner, which is really, really cool. Right, and it's a shame that this game didn't get an official localization. I hope someday Square Enix will bring it over to the West, finally. But for now, it's Japan only. It never got released in the West. You have to play it via fan translation, which is how I'm doing it here. But yeah, highly recommend it. I mean, Bahamut Lagoon, yeah, I really loved playing this game. It was fun. You get to tactical, and you get to control a whole bunch of dragons and stuff. Also has a pretty interesting story, I'd say. Unconventional. Yeah, with the story actually compared to other RPGs. Yeah, upgrading your dragons and everything, like, really, really cool. I wonder why Square has not officially released this in the West. I really think they should. But anyways, yeah, graphics are peak 16-bit, everything. It's a late Squaresoft game for the Super Nintendo. It's great. That's all I can say. Alright, so number 45 is Super Robot Wars Gaiden, The Elemental Lords, which is a Japan-only tactical RPG, came out for the Super Nintendo. And yeah, I played a lot of the Super Robot Wars games. So Super Robot Wars is kind of, well, I would say it was originally a Japan-only franchise, of course, because, well, tactical games they didn't think were popular in the West back then. It wasn't until Fire Emblem and all these other games started becoming more popular in the West in the early 2000s. Then they brought them over. But yeah, now you can find Super Robot Wars kind of localized. But back then, you have a bunch of the Super Robot Wars games, which was Japan only. And it's a shame because they're actually really fun. Like, most of them are these Fire Emblem type of games where you like move your character over in a tactical grid, right? You take turns and you attack. Except you have it with these Gundam type mechs. Right, so that's really cool. It's basically like Fire Emblem except with Gundams. But what makes Super Robot Wars Gaiden Elemental Lords unique is that it's a little bit different in presentation. So it's not like the standard Super Robot Wars games are kind of like you're on just this flat grid, 2D grid. But in Elemental Lords, you have this isometric perspective, which is very interesting. It actually looks a little bit more gritty. So yeah, it looks more realistic and gritty, I would say, because most of the Super Robot Wars games, the mechs look like these chibi-style robots, like SD Gundam type, essentially. Yeah, SD Gundam basically is what they look like. So super deformed, chibi, small, cute little type robots is what most of the Super Robot Wars games, the mechs look like that when you're moving them on the screen. But here with Super Robot Wars Gaiden, and I think so far only this game that I've seen, they look more like real mechs, you know, full-sized, realistic proportioned mechs. So that makes this game a little bit more, yeah, I mean, it looks cooler in my opinion. Isometric perspective, more realistic looking mechs, and more grittier looking as well. Plus it's got great graphics as well. I mean, 16-bit, 1996, which is kind of peak for 16-bit graphics on the Super Nintendo. So yeah, I love the gritty graphics on this one and the unique isometric type of perspective and the realistically proportioned, well, more realistically proportioned mechs compared to the usual Super Robot Wars stuff. And it still keeps kind of the gameplay of the Super Robot Wars games, which is whenever you make an attack and stuff, it does this animation and stuff. You can see what's happening to them. You fight lots of cool monsters. So yeah, overall, really enjoyed this one. Again, Japan only. You'll have to pick up a fan translation if you want to play this
I
one.
hope they carry over.
Yeah, when it comes to Super Robot Wars,
they spent a lot of money on our previous mobile suit, right?
Yeah, when it comes to Super Robot Wars, they're kind of a niche franchise because they're not as popular as like Fire Emblem even. So yeah, I don't think they'll be releasing any of these older Super Robot Wars games officially. Same thing with Fire Emblem. Nintendo, even though Fire Emblem is popular, Nintendo doesn't release the old ones in English. I don't know why. Like, yeah, like they should release some of the older games that were Japan
So it looks
only.
like I can only do extremely long range.
Yeah, but anyways,
really don't have
if you
any
guys
close
are
range
looking for a
attacks.
Super Robot Wars title, I think this is one of my favorites. Presentation is just different than other Super Robot Wars games, and it's grittier, so that's why I like it. So anyways, one of my favorite RPGs for the Super Nintendo, actually. I think I highlighted it on my top 30 Super Nintendo RPGs.
The whole school.
All right, so number 44
Really?
is The Adventures of Harai High,
So she just
Transfer
became a
Student Drama
principal
Bomb.
because she was chosen?
This is another Japan-only RPG
I don't
for
know
Super
anything
Nintendo.
about running
There's a lot of
school.
these
Okay,
back
that's
then.
not good.
Yeah, this one was pretty fun and interesting.
So we have a principal here that
Definitely
doesn't
another
really
one
know
of those
anything about
that
running a school.
I think I ended up
She just
having it in my
basically
top
got
30
chosen.
says RPGs as
My
well.
homeroom teacher, Miss Adachi.
And again, it's obscure because it's Japan only, but what I like about it is it's quirky, you know. It's weird and it's quirky. I mean, you play as this guy who, at the beginning of the game, he gets kicked off an airplane, and then you fly down, like, basically, you do some air diving. Yeah, skydiving, I should say. Yeah, skydiving. You do some skydiving at the beginning of the game. You drop into the classroom, and that's how the game starts. And the rest of the game, you're pretty much in the classroom here, and you try to join different clubs. And the clubs really determine your abilities, actually. So you join all these clubs that determine your abilities, and you assemble a team of
that's
students.
An expensive vending machine then.
And yeah, you fight monsters and stuff in the school. And the monsters are always very interesting,
No,
I would say. So yeah, funny dialogue,
Yeah, join the computer
quirky type of gameplay, funny monsters. I like how it says absent.
let's see, boost
if you yeah, if you don't have anyone else in your
Techniques I
party, it
got.
just says absent, which is funny.
Party seems like a useful one though.
Yeah, and then this is where I get
Remember
some
Team
people joining the
Pinocchio?
party here.
What's
Yes.
this?
But anyways, you can
Public
see
safety
what some of the monsters look like. It's your
Auto
typical
apologize.
turn-based combat from a
Legend. Oh, that's
first-person
auto,
perspective, kind of like Dragon
What's
Quest.
apologize do?
Except-
Apologize is basically the same thing as flee.
Yeah, except the monster's just funny, you know. It's kind of like Earthbound in a way, because you have some pretty funny-looking like monsters here. And here you just like
Public safety
attacking
officials.
some
Yeah,
hall
right.
monitors. It looks like, but later on you attack even more crazier enemies as well. So.
Give me some money.
Yeah, quirky enemies
4 FP,
and
40
quirky
G, okay.
combat, I would say, as well. Like, these are just hall monitors you're attacking. I mean, yeah, and joining different clubs. Like, look, you got some Ronin guys in the classroom for some reason. So, I had fun playing this game. It's just a fun, quirky game for the Super Nintendo. So, anyways, another one of the many, many JRPGs that never came to the West in this era. So, I would say in the Super Nintendo era, like half of the Japanese RPGs, maybe more than half, never came out to the West.
Can you
So,
see where
this
I
is
am?
another one.
That's funny.
43 is Warriors
How did I get
Legend of the
past
Blue
this?
Dragon, another Japan-only RPG. You can play it with fan translation, as I am here. Yeah, so this is yet another one for the Super Nintendo that was really late, actually. 1997 is when it came out, so it's a very, very late Super Nintendo game. But, of course, because it's so late, you have great graphics here. And you look at this. You got first-person perspective when you go inside a house. That's definitely not something typical,
how do I
right?
get Nami or
So I noticed that's something very interesting about Warrior Legend of
How do
Blue
you get off
Dragon
this
is that
island?
when you go inside a household, typically you just, you know, in a typical JRPG, you just go in, you see your character in the house, right? Here, in this game, and this is for Super Nintendo, you go in a first-person perspective and you can talk to people in the household and look around and stuff. That's pretty cool and unique to this game, actually. And normally you're in this this top-down perspective, which is pretty typical for a JRPG, right? But yeah, just the dialogue is done in a first-person perspective. When you go into a house, it's first-person perspective, and you can look around the house and stuff. That's pretty unique. Yeah, so you can just talk to people, and basically every time you go in a house, it's going to be in this first-person perspective, which is very cool and unique and interesting, right? You can kind of look around. Yeah, you can look around to the other parts of the house and kind of examine stuff. But then when you go into these areas, like here I go into a forest. When you go into these areas, then it becomes a side-scrolling perspective, which is very interesting, right? And then the monsters and stuff you do, it's kind of like, it's not really action RPG, I can't say, because it actually is
I like how it
turn-based.
transitions into a 2D platforming style.
Yeah, so it's not really like real time, but it's where like when you're in this platforming perspective is when you actually do combat with monsters and stuff. And it's very interesting because it's almost like roguelike in a sense, like a dungeon crawler, where every tile you move is when the monsters move and attack as well. So it's technically turn-based. Yeah, so it's technically turn-based when you're in that format. Yeah, but at the same time, it's very unique as well. So I have to say, yeah, Warriors Legend of the Blue Dragon is just a very unique game. I mean, you travel with this flying cat thing. Yeah, it's like a flying cat. That's what you're traveling around with. And yeah, you talk to people from a first-person perspective. When you go into a house, it's a first-person perspective, and you can look around. When you're traveling the overworld, it's a traditional top-down perspective. But then when you do battle, it's from a side-scrolling perspective, but it's also kind of turn-based because the enemies don't move until you move. So yeah, it's just a very, very unique game.
How am I supposed to beat these?
Yeah, it's a very, very unique game, I would say, and definitely worth checking out.
Help me.
Again, Japan only. I mean, Japan gets a lot of the best stuff, right? Japan only,
okay.
But definitely pick up the fan translation and check it out.
That symbol on the ground automatically killed all the monsters for me.
Yeah, very, very unique
Good.
Super Nintendo RPG. Alright, so let's continue on with the Japan-only SNES RPGs. Number 42 is Far East of Eden 0. So Far East of Eden is a JRPG series that's exclusive to Japan mostly. Japan is called Tengai Makyo. And yeah, most of them just never... pretty much all of them never came over to the West and never got officially translated. But yeah, a lot of them are really good. I really actually want to play 2, but that never got an official translation yet. It's too bad. Yeah, like all of them are pretty good, I would say. And Far East of the Eden 0 kind of stands out to me as well. And this is for the Super Nintendo. And of course, you can play the fan translation online is how I would play it. But what I like about this game is, yeah, the colorful graphics. First of all, is in 1995, so you're talking about a late era Super Nintendo JRPG. So you got great graphics, 16-bit, everything here.
You said the time before you start playing, and
yeah.
the time is now that.
So the time actually matters because certain things will happen depending on the real time that passes. So you have to set your time in this game according to the real time in your world, and certain things will happen according to the real time as time passes. So there's some pretty interesting mechanics, and the Far East of Eden series all have pretty high production values as well, I would say. So yeah. So yeah, overall, I really do like this game. Graphics are great, gameplay, characters, story. I think all the Far East of Eden games, I think, definitely deserve more love, and I don't know why they never really got brought over to the West, maybe because they're too Japanese, but it's unfortunate. But yeah.
We have a kind of Fantasy Star-like.
Yeah, so here you go. Like I said in the video, the combat interface seems to be almost like Phantasy Star, where you're behind the back or behind the shoulder kind of perspective. It's just cool. I mean, I like this kind of perspective too. And all the enemies and everything are just nicely done. Like, love the designs of these enemies. I mean, I think there's JRPGs that have amazing designs for enemies, like games like Metal Max Returns and stuff. They didn't make my list, but yeah, the enemy designs are just amazing for some of those. But yeah, Far East of Eden is still pretty great in that aspect as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that hit me twice.
Yeah, so I like the enemy design as well. Very colorful graphics and everything. And yeah, I think this is one of the sub-bosses, I think, at the beginning of the game here. But yeah, I love the style of this game. Graphics-wise, gameplay is very classic JRPG gameplay here. Yeah, overall, I think if this came out to the West during that time, it would have been hailed as a classic, but it was Japan only. So I definitely think Far East of Eden Zero deserves to be mentioned as one of the best Super Nintendo RPGs of its time. Yeah, I really enjoyed playing it. Yeah, love the graphics and gameplay, and yeah, high production values. Music is good, and yeah, it has some innovations too, like that time thing. So, anyways, definitely check it out. You know, the fan translation is available. So. Alright, so number 41, another Japan-only Super Nintendo RPG, Glory of Heracles 4. Yeah.
I'm silent because I'm the protagonist.
So what I like about this game is, so this is also really,
It doesn't have any
really
weapons
cool
or things.
JRPG for the time too. Because first of all, it's set in the era of Greek mythology, you know, that's why it's called Glory of Heracles, right? You got Greek mythology, and I mean, one of your party members is Plato.
Atlanteans.
Yeah,
I
that's right.
believe
The
people-
ancient Greek philosopher Plato is one of your party members. So that's pretty cool as well. Combat is from a first-person perspective, as you guys can see here, like Dragon Quest, like basically a lot of JRPGs at the time were doing this kind of style. Graphics are pretty good for the time. In 1994 is this is pretty much what you would expect for 94. But yeah, I do like the setting, the ancient, having the ancient Greek mythology type of references and characters there is pretty cool. But really the cool thing about this game is, yeah, so some of the story involves you know, rescuing
Not to
maidens
waste.
and, yeah, typical RPG stuff. But I would say the
that.
really cool thing about this game is being able to play as other NPCs.
Okay, what does that do?
Yeah, you can actually do that in this game. So this is just the first part of the game beginning, but after you get reincarnated, so you die, you get reincarnated, and then you play as a dog.
All right.
Yeah, you get reincarnated
Back to the
in a
life of a
dog's
dog.
body for this part, but then you get the ability. Yeah, when you go into like an area where the screen flashes, you can actually control one of the NPCs. So here, you start out as a dog.
She said I can take over the body of others.
Yeah, so basically, you can save all these NPCs that you can transform or take
Initially, I
over,
start
shapeshift
off as a
into.
stray dog.
I would say.
change into
So,
whoever.
Yeah,
Fly-
so that's really
Okay,
cool.
now
The ability to
attack.
shapeshift into NPCs or take over the body of other NPCs in the world map is just insane. Like for 1994, I've never played any other game like that.
Wow. Okay. So
So yeah, like here I'm playing as another character who I just met in a tavern, right? So
Aw,
this
man.
this guy who I
Save
met
on
in a
me.
tavern, I just took over his body here. Like this
okay.
guy here. Yeah, I just took over his body, and I shapeshifted into him,
child,
or
I
I took
guess?
over his body, and then I play as him. So how cool is that, right? Being able to play as other NPCs in the game, like just the random ones you meet in a tavern or whatever, and you can store
that
these
house
lists
down
of
there, how the
NPCs
heck
and
did I
kind of
get
transform into them at any time. It's kind of like a Pokedex, but you can transform into the
mystery, I can't
you know,
get to
like
that
into
house.
the list of characters that you encounter. It's insane. I've never encountered any other. Here, I'm playing as a Shrine Maiden now. I never encountered any other RPG, especially of the era, where you can do this. Like, just really, really cool, you know? Like, being able to take over the bodies of other NPCs, like, and
Well,
being able to
probably
play
why
as them, and
it
then
works
plus
fast
the,
now. Okay, I see how it works
yeah,
now.
pretty good monster design as well, and intriguing
basically,
story,
once you
intriguing
get to different-
characters and setting. Yeah, for many reasons, Glory of Heracles, one of my favorite Super Nintendo RPGs, and one of my favorite, RPGs from that era that never got translated, unfortunately. I mean, so many great Japanese RPGs
Wait,
that never
actually,
got
lower
official
my
translations. But hey, at least you can play the fan translation and
nice and
check it
better
out,
armor.
right? Like, yeah, play Glory of Heracles, man. Like, this is
Give
it's
me
a
some
fun game,
chainmail.
really cool. Love the ancient Greek mythology setting and being able to shapeshift into other characters and the enemy design and everything. Yeah, it's a really fun game to play. Right, so number 40 is Sakura Wars, and this is a cross-genre video game, by the way. It's not just an RPG. It's also kind of a dating sim and a visual novel and an adventure game-ish all at once. But yeah, I liked playing this game. I think the entire Sakura Wars series deserves a bit more love and appreciation. I know it's not very popular in the West. It's mostly like, it's popular in Japan, I guess. Well, not like super popular, but it's more well known in Japan, let's just say. Most of the games haven't really been translated. You can only play fan translations for a couple, I think. I really want to play Sakura Wars 2, but I don't think that one's fully translated yet. You can play fan translations for like the first one, I think, and second one I think is still being worked on. But yeah, the only one that got official translation, I believe, is this one, the one that came out 2020 here for PS4. And I really liked playing it. I mean, I liked the fact that you can date girls in this game, and you know, a lot of visual novel stuff like reading, basically. Not too much action. So for those of you guys who like a lot of action, there's a lot of reading in this game because it's you know, part visual novel and dating sim as well. But when you do get to have combat in this game, you get to play as a mech. So. And that's what the Sakura Wars series was originally. It was actually turn-based tactical combat with mechs. But in the latest version, this one, it's more of an action RPG. I know that's kind of divisive. Like, I think I would have preferred to have the traditional turn-based, more of the traditional turn-based tactical style. But anyways, those games weren't really officially localized, and it's hard to fan translations are still not really available for most Sakura Wars games, so I didn't get to play. I didn't get to play any of the old ones except for the first one, because that's the only one that had an official fan translation right now. But this is the only one that's officially been released in the West. So, anyways, yeah, I know it's more of like an action RPG, but oh well, I still enjoy playing this game. You know, I know it's not for everyone, but yeah, I enjoy playing it. I enjoy the amount of dialogue that you can have the characters, the visual novel perspective, the fact that you can basically date other girls in this game, and you combine that with the action RPG mech stuff, and you get a really cool game. Actually, it's a cross-genre game. So all in all, you get a pretty cool game. I think more people should check it out. You know, I think it doesn't get enough appreciation or love among RPG gamers or JRPG gamers, but I think it really does deserve a little bit more love and respect, I think, in my opinion. So anyway, Sakura Wars, this is the 2020 PS4 version that's, yeah, it kind of like a reboot of the franchise, if you will. Alright, so for number 39, I have an unconventional pick, I would say. Neo The World Ends With You. I always thought that this game got a bit overlooked. I mean, The World Ends With You, originally, that was a Nintendo DS game, and I believe it was like a pretty well-acclaimed Nintendo DS RPG. That was very unique, actually, for that system. And then it got a re-release, the remixed version, and then it got a sequel, Neo The World Ends With You. But this one, for some reason, didn't get kind of the same, I would say, hype as the predecessor did. And people just kind of got, well, I don't know, I think just people kind of overlooked this title. And actually, it is a better title than the original game. It's, first of all, compared to the original game, it's no longer limited by the Nintendo DS graphics and gameplay, right? So it's just a totally different playing game, because the original World Ends With You, obviously, like, you had to use your stylus and stuff because it's Nintendo DS, and then the graphics couldn't be that good because it's limited by the Nintendo DS graphics. But since this one was for the Switch, you can, yeah, do a lot more with this one, of course. And I really do like the cel-shaded graphics here, the depiction of Shibuya in Tokyo. That's all really nice. And then, yeah, just the art style, the graphical style is very anime-ish, but also keeping with the same vibe as the original game, which is also about the urban music type of tie-in, right? So you play this guy, and yeah, you see like strange things happening around Shibuya and Tokyo, and but it still keeps, you know, the same kind of vibe where you have that urban atmosphere, and music is a big part of this game, as it was in the original as well. So yeah, and then you have like this kind of comic book manga style when they talk to each other. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, well, this comic book style, anyways, this, I would call it Japanese manga style, but anyways, yeah, I found this is a very unique style for this game, and basically controls entirely different than the original, because it's now fully 3D. You can kind of walk around in Tokyo and Shibuya, and the combat is also fully 3D as well. And then, yeah, the way that you do combat is related to rhythm as well. So it's kind of like a rhythm game.
Fighting is definitely...
Yeah, so it's kind of like a rhythm game in the way that you do the combat. Again, a tie-in with the fact that music is pretty important to this game and the original. Yeah, and the fact that you can kind of read people's minds as well. I mean, you can do that in the original game, but you can do that here as well, of course, and just walking around in the whole 3D environment. So I think it's an underappreciated game. I think more people should check it out. Neo The World Ends With You. I had a really good time with it. Yeah, the cel-shaded graphics, anime style, the manga style when you're talking, and then the association with music as well. Like, the combat is kind of unique because it's almost like a rhythm game, right? You gotta like time your attacks and everything to the rhythm, exploring the urban environment of Tokyo and Shibuya. Yeah, all that is really good, and it's done really well. I don't know why this sequel just kind of got overlooked, but it's a way better game than the original game, actually. So, yeah, and the original game wasn't bad, but I'm just saying it was very limited by the Nintendo DS technology. But this game, yeah, because it's free from that, and you can just use whatever, Switch technology basically, which is, yeah, you can do whatever with that, and yeah, it just makes for a much better, experience, I would say. Much more expanded gameplay and much better experience. So, more people should check this game out. Neo: The World Ends With You. Yeah, very underrated recent JRPG title, I would say. All right, number 38 is Ys 10 Nordics, and yeah, I think this might have become my favorite Ys game. Played through it last year. This just came out recently, 2024. So I think for a long time my favorite Ys game was Ys 8, Lacrimosa Dana.
Ys 8.
And I think Ys 8 is a lot of people's favorites for the Ys series, and I know how great that game is. But I really do think Ys 10 comes close, even though you could only play as the the main two characters here.
You want to go at it?
Adol Christian and this Viking girl Karja. I actually think it's really interesting. You don't get to play as too many characters in this game. You only get to play as two, essentially. But it also gives you more time to build up the relationship between these two characters, right? You get to see more of the dynamics between Adol Christian and Karja. And yeah, I'm all for that, like, instead of having a whole bunch of, like, if you have a lot of party characters, you also have to split up what each party character, the story and the lore and everything between all of them, right? And it ends up you don't get too much time to know all the different characters if you have other characters in your party. But if you only have these two to care about, well, then you can really build up their character, and yeah, you get to know more about them.
I recognize this girl.
So yeah, Karja and Adol Christian, I really love their dynamic and relationship in this game. And standard Ys gameplay has always been an action RPG. Of course, in the beginning, the early days, it was a 2D perspective. Now it's a 3D perspective. But I really like Ys 10. I think it's much better than Ys 9. I didn't like Ys 9 that much at all. But yeah, it was hard to choose between Ys 8 because Ys 8 is also really good. But I think I give the edge to Ys 10. Just because I know that, like, after playing Ys 10, I just felt like, Karja and Adol, like, having they have dual attacks as well, right? You have that dual attack dynamic and everything. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I like the way they build up that dynamic and relationship between these two characters. So I think that Nihon Falcom did a good job at that. And I know I didn't put any Trail series games in here in this list. That's another Nihon Falcom series. Because I felt like all the Trails games are roughly around the same level. If I had to pick, I might pick Trails in the Sky. But it's all really, really close, and none of them really stood up to me too much. And plus, you really have to kind of play all of them. It's really a game that the Trails in the Sky and all these other Trails games, yeah, you do really need to invest a lot of time and effort into them. And I think that Ys games are a little bit easier to pick up and play. Whereas with the Trails games, you have to like go into it with all this lore and background and stuff. So I think Ys is better for pick up and play, and yeah, Ys 10 is my pick for my favorite Ys game so far. Alright, number 37 is Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom. Both Ni no Kuni 1 and 2 are both pretty good. I wouldn't say like 2 is much better than 1. They're both pretty good, but I'll go with 2 here. Of course, this is the I played them in order, right? I played Ni no Kuni 1 first, and then number 2. What people remember the most about Ni no Kuni games is that, of course, the art style, right? It's made in collaboration with Studio Ghibli, so the story and the characters are all very much Ghibli. And that makes that gives the game a lot of charm, I think, right? Because you're basically playing like these characters who are, just straight out of a Ghibli movie almost, and it's an RPG as well. So you get to, for RPG aspect, I wouldn't say the combat is all that special or interesting. It's the story and characters and the art style, I think, that really keep the Ni no Kuni series kind of unique, right? Because it really is like playing through a Ghibli movie. So anyways, I like playing Ni no Kuni 2, the Revenant Kingdom is what it's called. Yeah, I would say if you guys are interested in, I mean, there's kind of a big overlap, right? I would say JRPG gamers and Studio Ghibli fans, because I mean, if you're a weeaboo and an otaku, you'll be into both, right? So, yeah, there's that overlap between them. But yeah, combat is, yeah, I would say if you're into the Tales games, you would know the combat's pretty similar to some of the Tales games out there. But it's the art style, the story, the characters, yeah, the Ghibli kind of a charm, really, that makes Ni no Kuni kind of special. So, anyways, Ni no Kuni 2. Yeah, and I guess I could have also chose 1, but yeah, I think they're both pretty good. So 36 is Sayuki Journey West. Honestly, a game that I didn't really know much about until recently, right? When I was playing through all these JRPGs, and I was like, wow, there is a tactical RPG involving Journey to the West characters. I had no idea. And it was an officially localized game. Like, this is not a Japan-only game. This was officially localized and released in the West. And I'm surprised, honestly. Because, like, what, back in 2001 when this game was released, how many Western gamers knew about Journey to the West, right? I mean, nowadays, maybe you knew about Wukong, like Black Myth Wukong, which is a pretty popular game. But back in 2001, how many gamers cared about Journey to the West in the West, right? I mean, Chinese gamers obviously cared about it, but I didn't know how many American gamers cared about that. But anyways, I played through it, really enjoyed it. Of course, you play as the Japanese version of Wukong, who is called Goku, right? Those of you Dragon Ball fans would know that. Yes, Dragon Ball was originally inspired by Journey to the West. So Goku's name is, yeah, Wukong, right? That's the Japanese name. And yeah, but Journey to the West is kind of its own thing. Yes, you do get to play as Goku or Wukong, but you get to recruit not only some of the classic Journey to the West characters, but some unique characters as well to this game. So anyways, I loved playing this game because it's the folklore, right? Chinese folklore and Journey to the West setting, and in a tactical RPG for the PS1, an isometric tactical RPG like Final Fantasy Tactics. So overall, it's a really good combination. I'm just happy that this game exists. I did not know a game like this existed, and I think it's pretty underrated and overlooked because I don't remember many people talking about this game. Like, there are a lot of great isometric tactical RPGs for the PS1, so maybe just got lost in that shuffle, right? You got Vanguard Bandits, Vandal Hearts 2, Cardia, World of Fate, you know, those are not on this list, so I'm just going to mention them. There's, was it Hoshinigami or something like that? Yeah, Hoshigami. There's another one. And then obviously Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre as well. I mean, there are so many isometric tactical RPGs released during this time, so I think maybe Sayuki just kind of got lost in the shuffle of it. But yeah, it's worth playing. Really do like the setting and the characters and everything, of course, based on the classic Chinese folklore. Yeah, I think it deserves more love. And hey, some of the games on this list is what I'm highlighting here. I want more people to know about them. And yeah, this officially came out in the West for PS1. These are Alright, so number 35 is Albert Odyssey, Legend of Aldean for the Sega Saturn. Another game I think more people should check out, not because the gameplay is anything that special, but just because it's a really funny game to play through, actually. I love working designs, and their translation on this game was just amazing. Yeah, so first of all, I know not many people play this game because it's a Saturn game, right? And also Albert Odyssey. This is technically a sequel to a Super Nintendo game that it's never got released in the West, so...
Archangels are always male.
Yeah,
right?
the original Albert Odyssey for Super Nintendo, you can play a fan translation online now, but it never got released in the West. It was in Japan only. So when this one came out for the Saturn, it's kind of a sequel. I don't think many people paid attention to it because it's like, you know, they're not familiar with the series. And plus it's on the Sega Saturn, and so Sega Saturn exclusive. So on top of that, right? Yeah, I know this. So as a result, because Sega Saturn exclusive and it's a franchise that Western gamers wouldn't really know about, I think this game is really not that well known. But I do want to highlight this game because
well, actually, I don't know who he is.
yeah, you play as this kid who basically got orphaned, Pike, basically.
In order to get up and down through this
And well, actually, your mother, who was this angel, saved you, but then she got turned to stone, and then you had to basically go save her or find the antidote to save her to turn her back and everything. Now the combat system is pretty standard. It's your standard side-scrolling perspective. It's similar to
Stop blocking, you will be up.
yeah, to a lot of other like Final Fantasy type battle systems, right? Some Tales games are like that as well. Yeah, so that's similar. But what's really funny about this game is the dialogue, and I think Working Designs did an amazing translation of the dialogue here. I actually don't know if that was the original Japanese, indicate like what they originally meant. But like this girl, for example, where she talks to you. So, like, pretty girl. Her name is just Pretty Girl. So I was thinking you could fight them while I turn around and run very fast. Thank you so much, you big strong hunk of manhood. Like, you have dialogue like that in this game. It's actually hilarious.
I wanted to run,
but your skill with the blade transfixed me. I had to watch. My pleasure, miss. Are you some kind of sicko? These are your dialogue options in response. My pleasure, or are you some kind of sicko? Oh man.
Well developed.
I've noticed you've been looking at my unusually well-developed eyebrows. Oh man. Yeah, like the dialogue in this game is just insane. I haven't played any other JRPG just quite like this, with this kind of dialogue. So the dialogue in itself makes this game, like, I have to put it on here. Look at this. I think you're extremely weird, but I think I love you is one of the dialogue options. Oh man. Look at it. It's a terrible curse to have good looks and play the helpless game well, but I've learned to live with it. Oh man. The dialogue in this game is amazing. And then later on in the game, you'll get to meet like a dominatrix, and the dialogue options for that is also pretty insane. Well, look at what she said to me here. She said, "I can't make any friends in this town. What do you think the problem is? You ugly, spiky-haired freak," is what she called me. Oh my god. Yep.
I knew he was going to be here for the crystal.
What are my dialogue options here? Run like your butt's on fire. Oh my god. Your cast accuracy is poor. Oh my god.
This man can...
I won't run, Lulu. This man can't save my sister. I don't want to, but I'll do it for you. Oh my god. And look, this little punching glove is here on the side, and it punches him.
Nice.
Yeah, this game is hilarious. What can I say? The gameplay is nothing special, but the dialogue's absolutely top-notch. Huh. Wait, I've never seen a pure hate. I've always had a weakness for cute girls. That's what I should say. You shameless little flirt. Keep it up and I'll give you a spanking. No, wait, you'd probably enjoy it. Oh my god, I love this game's dialogue. So anyways, by the dialogue alone, this game has to make my list. Alright, so number 34 is Legend of Legaia, which is a game that I think deserves a remaster, to be honest. But I know that it's blocky and the graphics are super early, like, this is the PS1, you know, early 3D era, right? So I know the graphics haven't aged that well, but it really is a great game. And much better than the sequel, by the way. I know the first Legend of Legaia is way better. What I like about Legend of Legaia is, well, actually the main thing I remember about Legend of Legaia is the combat system. So, okay, the gameplay is just okay. It's typical JRPG-ish, right? You know, go around, talk to people, do missions and stuff. But I think it's the combat that really makes this RPG stand out. It's almost like playing a fighting game. So, you know, most JRPGs, right, it's like, when you do combat, it's like either one of the Final Fantasy type combat systems or Dragon Quest, where you have like that kind of perspective, you take turns, right, you do your moves. But Legend of Legaia, you can actually, like, it's almost like playing a fighting game, right? So, it's like you can do like combos and stuff. Yeah, so that's what makes this RPG really kind of unique and special, is this kind of combat system where it's almost like you're playing a fighting game, and you can kind of like pull off different combos, right, in succession. So that's pretty interesting. The only other JRPG I think that's kind of like this, not really kind of like this, is Xenogears, but Xenogears is kind of its own thing as well. So anyways, I do like the combat system in Legend of Legaia. I think that's what makes this game kind of stand out for me. It's got great, you know, story and characters too, but I would say that the most memorable thing for me about Legend of Gaia is the fact that the combat system is like you're playing a fighting game. It's like if you made Tekken an RPG, right? Like it could be like this, right? Legend of Gaia. So it's just unique in that sense. I've never seen any other RPG like this. This kind of like combat system. Yeah. It's like if you made Tekken an RPG, it would be Legend of Gaia. Like, yeah, you can pull off different combos and moves and stuff like that. It's just super unique in that aspect. So, anyways, one of the best and most unique combat systems I've seen in a JRPG. So that's why it's on this list. Actually, I think Samurai Shodown RPG had something similar as well. But that's another game that will appear later on this list, and also a really unique game as well. And also that one's Japan only. So, all right. So number 33 is Thousand Arms. Another game I love playing from the PS1 era. First, the graphics and everything is well, it's interesting because it's like, yeah, like you play as this like small kid, I guess. But I think what makes this game really stand out to me is the fact that it's both a dating sim and an RPG. So because the main character, like his father, is basically he's like a playboy type, I would say. Yeah, so he thinks he's a hero, he's a big hero and everything, and then he just falls for like every cute girl that he sees in the game. And then you actually have options to date girls in the game as well. And as you might have noticed, I do put games which have like visual novel or dating sim aspects kind of higher, you know, just because I like to have those kind of things. It's different. It's actually like it makes the gameplay more intriguing, I would say, to have those kind of things. So like here, I go into a first-person perspective when I talk to this girl, and she appears differently.
What a babe!
So that's also pretty unique about Thousand Arms, right? It's like usually it's in the 3D perspective, and then it turns into like sometimes it goes like this, and then the girl looks like she's like from this 2D anime. Yeah, and then you got dialogue options. See a Babe Charmer, Triumph Family Precepts, Chapter 11.
You're too beautiful to be sad. Smile. I'm here with you.
Help me then!
Oh man, yeah. So I think I find that interesting, right?
Where did everybody go?
It's almost like you have a 2D sprite, and then you're in a 3D background. But then sometimes when you talk to people, like it transforms, and the perspective changes and shifts, and it becomes like an first-person perspective, and they turn into an anime character, like a 2D anime character. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I don't think I've really played any other RPGs like that.
Thank you for saving me.
Yeah,
What's
so
your
this is
name?
like almost anime-ish, right? The girl's like a 2D anime.
I'm Mice. Mice Triumph.
Yeah, and then after you finish talking to her, then you can see that there's like a 2D sprites on the 3D background again.
I like how when it zooms.
So I like when it zooms into when you're talking to different characters, it zooms in, and then it becomes like an anime. So with the dialogue, so that's pretty cool. I don't think I've seen many other RPGs do something like that. So that combined with the fact that well, it's a combination dating sim RPG, right? And then when the combat happens, it's not too special, I would say. Like this is like your typical side perspective combat interface, but it's still fun. Yeah, still fun to play. So overall, I think Thousand Arms does a good job, kind of blending a lot of aspects together. I think the colorful graphics, the 2D sprites, yeah, the fact that you have some anime type of sequences in this game, dating sim elements. Yeah, overall, just a pretty unique game that a lot of fun playing. So anyways, Thousand Arms has to be on my list here. Really enjoyed playing this one. Alright, so now for number 32, I have Azure Dreams, another underrated game for the PS1, I think. This is actually by Konami, but yeah, rarely do people talk about this game. And again, it's a blend of many different genres, just like with Sakura Wars and Thousand Arms. You got dating sim elements in this game as well. And you got city building elements, and you got monster raising elements, and on top of that, it's all wrapped in a dungeon crawler RPG. So you got a blend of like 4 different genres in a single game. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, so you play as this kid. Most of the time, like I would say, the bulk of this game is you go into a dungeon and then basically use monsters and everything like that, and try to kill other monsters stuff. So yeah, that's the bulk of this game, but you also have the dating sim elements, and you have the city building elements as well. I think graphic wise, it's also interesting as well. It's not exactly like the polygonal 3D like Final Fantasy VII or Legend of Legaia or Legend of Dragoon. I don't think those aged quite well. But this is almost like, it's not like the 2D sprites used in Thousand Arms, but at the same time, it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of like pixelated, but in a way that I think is not, like it's still like, you can still play it today and you enjoy it basically. It's still aged kind of well, I think. So it doesn't age as badly as the ones with fully polygonal 3D, is what I meant to say. Yeah, so this one is kind of like an in-between of the 2D sprites and the 3D polygons, right? So I think that you can still play this game today, and yeah, didn't age too much actually. Yeah, still pretty fun to play. And then when you talk to people, right, their portrait kind of appears in 2D anyway, so that's cool. Yeah, Ko is the main character in this game. I think you're trying to find your father, actually. That's kind of something I've seen in other JRPGs as well, finding your father. Your father was a hero, and then, you know, something happened to them in the tower. So, oh yeah, here's where I meet my first monster, and I'm a monster tamer. You can kind of get other monsters in this game to tame as well. So it's got Monster Hunter aspects. I would say not Monster Hunter, Dragon Quest-ish aspects. Yeah, Dragon Quest is actually the game I think that has some of that. The taming monster stuff. By the way, no Dragon Quest game on my list, I'm sorry. That's just because I don't think any of the Dragon Quest games stand out to me all that much. Like, they're all good, but none of them really are like very, very interesting or great to me. They're just very traditional JRPGs. So honestly, none of them really stood out to me enough to be on this list. But I know Dragon Quest is very, very, you know, popular, but yeah, no Dragon Quest games on my list. But I am gonna say that they took some aspect of Dragon Quest here and fused it with a roguelike dungeon crawler, as well as a city builder and a dating sim. So they really put a lot of elements together in this game, and that's what makes it special. You know, more people should really check out As Your Dreams. It really is kind of a very interesting, unique game, right? It's a combination of a roguelike dungeon crawler RPG, but you get to tame monsters, and yeah, you got dating sim elements and city building elements in this game, all wrapped together in a single game. That's really fun to play and done really well, actually. So I think this definitely one of the games that deserves more love and appreciation, which is another reason I'm highlighting it here on my list. Yeah, at 33 here. So yeah, I think more people should give it a chance. Konami's really never acknowledged it, basically, but very, very ambitious.
So it's almost like a roguelike, right?
Yeah. It combines so many genres together.
It's almost like a roguelike.
I know.
Meaning that the tower, well...
Right, so number 31, I have Illusion of Gaia. This is the second part of the Quintet trilogy of RPGs for the Super Nintendo. The third being Terranigma, a great game that we'll have later on this list. But Illusion of Gaia,
I like
yeah.
Adventures better.
Really enjoyed playing this one.
JRPGs
Graphics are really good for the time, actually. This is 1994, and I think this is pretty peak graphics for 1994.
He really named his pig him. She really named her pig Hamlet.
The setting and premise of this game, like, you're set on a fantasy version of the world. You get to travel different parts of the world and like explore different wonders of the world and everything. Like, that's a pretty cool concept, in my opinion. Like, I believe one is like inspired by the Great Pyramid of Giza. Another one is the Great Wall of China, inspired by that. So yeah, I really do like the different settings that you get to explore in this game. And yeah, what can I say? Gameplay, story, and everything. Anyone who's played Illusion of Gaia, I think, has good memories playing this game. It's just done really well. I think, and out of the three games, some people actually prefer Illusion of Gaia to Terranigma. I don't. I still prefer Terranigma, but I know there's some people that still prefer Illusion of Gaia. And Soul Blazer honestly just isn't on the same level as these other two. When I play Soul Blazer, it just feels very raw and unpolished. But Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma are great. For me, Terranigma is a little bit better, but I still like playing Illusion of Gaia, and I think it's one of the great Super Nintendo RPGs. I mean, so many great Super Nintendo RPGs. It's one of the great systems for JRPGs, and yeah, this is definitely up there. So yeah, we love the setting, the graphics, the characters. It is an action RPG, as you guys can tell. Later on, you know, Terranigma will obviously use a very similar interface for battle, but yeah, had a great time playing this game. So anyways, Illusion of Gaia. If you guys haven't played it, definitely highly recommend it. And unfortunately, it is the last Quintet game that actually got official release in North America because Enix kind of stopped their North American offices. I think they closed down their North American offices in, was it 96, around that time? Yeah, 95, 96, so Terra Enigma was never officially released in North America. So Illusion of Gaia, I think, is the last one that Quintet was able to actually officially get published in North America. But yeah, great game to pick up and check out if you haven't. So for number 30, I have Trials of Mana, also called Seiken Densetsu 3. And this game is, yeah, the sequel to Secret of Mana, which is a much beloved game from the Super Nintendo era. And I actually like this game a little bit more than Secret of Mana. I know Secret of Mana is more well known, and that's probably because this game originally did not come out in the West until many years later. Yeah, this game was basically not officially localized until 2018. So it was Japan only for a long time. I think if it came out in North America originally, then it would have been, you know, much more famous. But yeah, most people know Secret of Mana. Trials of Mana I personally prefer because it expands the gameplay more. You got a day-night system in it, and also you have more character classes as well, and you have 6 different characters to choose from. So it got expanded gameplay and everything, and that's the main reason. Otherwise, it has pretty much the same artwork and graphics as Secret of Mana. A lot of people feel that Secret of Mana has the better story, which I think it does, but other than that, I think Trials of Mana, other than the story, I think Trials of Mana is better. The gameplay is better. Music is so... I honestly think Trials of Mana's music is pretty good too. A lot of people love Secret of Mana's music. But I think that, yeah, other than the story, I think Trials of Mana gameplay overall I think is a bit better. And plus, you know, the choice of 6 different characters is kind of a novel thing at the time. Not many games allow you to choose like many different characters. I think only Treasure of the Rutras and Romancing Saga 3 probably are the only other games I can think of, only other JRPGs of that time that I can think of that lets you choose multiple different protagonists. But yeah, I think this is probably my favorite Mana game. So yeah, gotta put it in here somewhere, right? Just as I mentioned. Alright, number 29 is Valkyrie Profile. And this is the enhanced Lenneth version for PSP, by the way. Developed by Tri-Ace, who made Star Ocean series as well. Yeah, this game is pretty good. Probably one of my favorite PS1 RPGs. Of course, as the name implies, it involves a Valkyrie, which is part of Norse mythology and everything. But overall, I like this game. It kind of reminds me of... The combat system is actually more akin to Tales of... the Tales games, actually, Tales of Fantasia in those games, which I guess makes sense too, because that technically was some of the same developers. They just... they left the Tales team to form, you know, the team that made Star Ocean. So the combat system actually is more reminiscent of a Tales game. But other than that, yeah, graphics and everything has a lot of charm. Pretty much the same graphics you would expect from a Tales game of that era. And yeah, the whole storyline and everything with the gods, right, the Norse mythology and everything. I guess when I got into this game, I didn't know if I would like it or not, but I ended up really liking it a lot more than I expected. Because I was thinking, you know, what kind of game is this with the Norse mythology and gods and stuff? Is it going to be good? But then I realized, yeah, Valkyrie Profile is pretty good. Only the original Valkyrie Profile. I know there's other Valkyrie Profile games, but I think the original is generally considered the best one. And I tend to agree with that.
You made the right choice.
So yeah, surprised about how much I like this game. Actually, it ended up being one of my favorite PS1 RPGs, which is saying a lot because PS1 has a lot of great JRPGs, right? But Valkyrie Profile would definitely make my list there as well. Anyways, a lot of great JRPGs, right? So this, even though I love this JRPG, it still ends up being just top 30 on my list. But it still makes my list, you know, because I still like it. So. Anyways, Valkyrie Profile starting off this list at number 30. Love the characters, the story, the graphics, combat system, everything. It's pretty solid all around. So speaking of Tales games, which I talked about the combat system of Valkyrie Profile, let's go with the Tales game here. 28 is Tales of Eternia, also known as Tales of Destiny 2. I know it's confusing because the real Tales of Destiny 2 was only released in Japan. So I guess North America got this as Tales of Destiny 2, but it's not really the real Tales of Destiny 2. It's really confusing. I'm just going with Tales of Eternia.
How would you
to
know?
make it like more
There hasn't been contact
you know,
between
distinct.
our worlds for
But
2,000 years.
okay, this is my favorite Tales game, and I know that's kind of
Anyway,
surprising, right? There's
life is
Vesperia,
meant to be
there's
simple.
Berseria, which
When
are both
things
really
stay
good.
the way they are,
Arise,
that's true
Graces is
happiness.
good. Abyss
Here
is
we go
good.
again. Read
Symphonia,
philosophy.
why is a fan favorite?
You never
So a lot of great
change.
Tales games out there.
Oh,
I
yeah?
picked
Well,
Eternia
maybe I'm just
because
that, like...
just personally, I
Help?
like the characters and the story the
I
best in
see.
this one, as well as
We can't understand
the
her, but we
classic,
sure-
charming
How?
2D graphics of the PS1 era. So, yeah, just personally, I like this one. I know there's a lot of great Tales games.
Too many of these.
I just
like,
find 2D
sci-fi-
graphics a little bit more charming, I guess, than the 3D ones.
Me too much.
And
Ow.
right
My
away,
name isn't Febrio.
there is you find this girl basically
What
who's like
now?
an alien. She like crashed
Read?
landed and
What do
stuff.
we do?
She doesn't know her name. In a
Looks like
way,
she
it's
wants to
actually
stay
very
with you.
familiar with the Tales
What
of
do you mean,
Graces
what a we?
plot as well, because
Well,
you also find
she
a
needs
kind
to
of like an
leave the
alien
village,
type of
but
girl
she doesn't want to be separated
that
from
doesn't
you.
remember her name in that one too. But yeah. I like this game. I think this is probably my favorite Tales game. It's just a personal favorite. I know Eternia might not be the #1 Tales game for a lot of people, but for me, it's got the classic Tales of Fantasia combat system here, which is the 2D combat system in Tales games. And yeah, the storyline, the characters, the music, everything overall, just like it's really charming. So as soon as I got into this game, I couldn't put it down because. Yeah, I just got so sucked into it. So, yeah, overall, all the Tales games are pretty, like, all the Tales games I mentioned are pretty close. I'm not saying, like, this is so much better than the others. I mean, you know, someone has Abyss or Berseria or Vesperia or whatever. It's all fine, but just personally for me, this one edges it out a bit, you know. Just, I like that 2D style graphics, and just the characters and story are pretty memorable for me anyways. Yeah, and it is funny that Grace is kind of they kind of reused a little bit of that plot, but it's fine. Anyways, yeah, Tales of Eternia is going to be my representative Tales game on this list. 1 entry per series, by the way. So that's just a FY. All the games on this list is just going to be 1 per series, so you're only going to see 1 Final Fantasy game, 1 Dragon Quest game. Actually, I don't think I have Dragon Quest on this list. But just 1 game from each series. Yeah, okay, so number 27 is Grandia 2, which originally, this game, I think this game is another one that as I played it more, really did get more into it and started to enjoy it more. But yeah, originally I think this came out for Dreamcast, but this is the HD version I'm playing for PC because this did get a remaster. So I did not play the original. I'm just playing I played the HD version on my channel. But yeah, I think this game and the original Grandia are pretty close. Like both Grandia 1 and 2 are pretty good games. But if I were to pick one, I think I would just go with Grandia 2 by a hair, you know. And it's not just me because IGN had Grandia 2 on their list as well. But yeah, overall, you know, the characters, the story and everything. Yeah, it's yeah, something I would say, like, I get, like, some people might not like the main character because he can be annoying, but yeah, some JRPGs do have this kind of character, you know. But anyways, yeah, overall, did enjoy playing this. So, Grandia 2 HD. I don't know if this was on I think the original Grandia was on the original PlayStation, but then this was on the Dreamcast, I believe. So, anyways, did not play the original. But hey, you guys can pick up the remastered HD version with all the updated graphics and everything. So, overall, pretty solid JRPG for the time, and I would consider this one of the 2 best RPGs on the Dreamcast, right? The other one being a game that I'll be talking about in a bit. But yeah, this is one of the 2 best RPGs on the Dreamcast, the Grandia 2. Okay, so number 26 is Metaphor Refantasio. And I thought about this game quite a bit before putting it here because, well, Metaphor Refantasio, like, many people would have it higher, and you know, IGN had it higher, but the thing is, yeah, when I play this game, and this is a great game, don't get me wrong, that's why it's on this list, right? I just felt like this game was a little bit too derivative of Persona, and that's probably why it's ranking a bit lower here. just because like I'm getting a lot of Persona vibes out of this game, even though I know it's a different setting and everything. Yes, it's a medieval fantasy setting, not the typical school setting of Persona and everything. You don't have some of the same social aspects that you have in Persona, so I get that it is different, but it's not different like enough, I guess, because like the style, right, the presentation of this game, it's pretty Persona to me.
Okay, we gotta wait.
You have great music, great characters, art style, the combat system, everything. Yeah, that all is pretty similar to Persona. Like you even do have a Persona-like figure, except instead of summoning it, you turn into that figure. So, yeah, in many ways it reminds me, and you even have like a Velvet Room substitute as well. So you see like the fonts and everything, the presentation, that's all very similar to Persona. So yeah, some things are different, but overall I just felt like it's a little bit too derivative of Persona. Therefore I cannot rank it as high as Persona. I just find Persona to be the more original game. But this is still a great game nonetheless, because if you're gonna, you know, have some of the presentation, the styles, you know, what other better game to copy from? Of course, if you're going to take it from Persona, that's a great game to take it from. So it's still done really well, very polished, you know, the music, the art style, the combat system, everything. Yeah, take it all from Persona 5 and yeah, change it a little bit in some ways, but overall, you know, still a great game. So it's a bit lower on my list just because I don't feel it's as original. But I still have to give it its props because yes, Metaphor of Fantasio is a great game, and this was a Game of the Year nominee in 2024, and yeah, for good reason too. So yeah, that's why Metaphor of Fantasio has to make my list, right, in my top 30. It's just a little bit lower than what some other people might have it, just because yeah, I just think Persona is probably the more original series, but hey, you know, still a great game. So especially for a recent JRPG that came out, I think, yeah, this is definitely one of the more memorable ones for me.
Live Alive.
Okay, so at number 25 is Samurai Showdown RPG. So this is a Japan-only game. So most people in the West probably would not have played this, and only the fan translation came out relatively recently, I think. So I'm playing the fan translated version here for Neo Geo CD. I think there's also a Saturn version as well, but that's not been translated. I don't think a lot of people would have played this game originally, not even in Japan, because yeah, like I don't know how many people played this on Saturn or Neo Geo CD. Neo Geo CD definitely wasn't like a popular console or anything. But I do recommend people do like check out this game because now that it has an official translation and everything. I even have a guide up on my channel to get this thing running. I know it can be a pain in the ass to emulate Neo Geo CD, but I basically had to go through some hoops just to play this game because this is the only game I think that's really like Neo Geo CD, not really exclusive, but sort of exclusive. That yeah, it's worth playing here. So Samurai Showdown is like a fighting game series by SNK, right? Not a lot of people knew that they had an RPG as well. Only released in Japan. What's special about this game is, first of all, I love the graphical style. This is just peak, you know, sprite-based type of graphics. I love Samurai Showdown's graphics. They're just so beautiful, and that beautiful Japanese style and background as well as setting. The combat system is actually really unique in this game. So you actually had to input different combos. So, like as if you're playing a fighting game. Right, so in a fighting game you usually like execute these series of combos, right? But in RPGs, usually you don't do that, right? You just have like an attack button, a spell button, whatever. But what makes Samurai Showdown unique is that to execute the attacks, you actually need to press the combo as you were playing a fighting game. So it's almost like playing a fighting game that's also an RPG, right? And I know that the only other game I could think of that's kind of like this is Legend of Legaia. Which was a great game too. That it unfortunately didn't quite make this list, but yeah, I think that Legend of Legaia might have been the only other game where it's kind of like playing a fighting game RPG with the combat system. So yeah, I think this is definitely a game more people should check out because it's beautiful. The art style, you can play as a few different characters. Some of the same characters you'll find in Samurai Showdown. Actually, they all have different stories. And then this unique combat system where it's like you're playing a fighting game almost. So yeah, beautiful graphics and multiple choices for protagonists, for characters, like character selection as if you're playing a fighting game. And the combat system is like a fighting game too. Overall, just a very unique entry. So yeah, definitely recommend everyone check out Samurai Shodown RPG because yeah, this is just a great experience. Nothing really quite like it, I would say. And it's definitely like not a game, not an RPG that most people would even know about in the West.
I don't know what that
so
did, but
just
I'll
one of
give
those
you for it.
hidden gems type of things that you should know about. Yeah, that's why I have to put it on my list in my top 30. I definitely think more people should try it out. All right, so at number 24, I have Breath of Fire 3, a game that also made IGN's list as well. Yeah, I think this is probably my favorite Breath of Fire game. I think Breath of Fire 4 was really good too. It was pretty close between 3 and 4 for me, but I think 3 I enjoyed just a little bit more. Yeah, the beginning is like intro here. You start off with this like baby dragon that's been captured. Yeah, just overall, I think that this game deserves a re-release. Like Breath of Fire 1 through 4 deserve a re-release in a complete package. I know they re-released Breath of Fire 4 recently on GOG, but the whole series needs a re-release. Capcom needs to get on
I don't
that.
even have any clue.
They all
right
need a
now.
remaster.
If this is random encounters,
2, 3, and 4 I think are generally considered better than 1, but
okay, let's go here.
yeah, I think 2, 3, and 4 are all pretty close. I generally like 3 the best. I think IGN does too, since they had 3 on their list. But yeah, what can I say, right? People who play Breath of Fire know that Breath of Fire is a great series, and Breath of Fire 3 is a great game. Story, characters, art style, music, gameplay, everything is pretty top notch. So I think this series definitely deserves a little bit more love. I think everyone who plays Breath of Fire knows how great it is. Just definitely one of the standout games on the PS1. Yeah, and I'm just such a sucker for this
Ripper.
for the 2D art style.
Wow, I heard it's called Ripper.
Like a lot of the early 3D games. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII is a great example. Final Fantasy VII, everyone knows that RPG, right? It's one of the all-timers, but it aged really badly. So it's hard to play the original Final Fantasy VII for me, just because the early 3D aged so bad. But Breath of Fire, I mean, yeah, I can go back to this anytime because especially 3, because by 4 they made the art style a little bit more 3D and polygonal, but I think
Just in this
3
game,
aged a bit
you're,
better than 4 did
more
in that sense. Because
known
3 is
for it,
still
I guess.
using these classic 2D sprites and everything. Well, yeah, these pixelated 2D sprites, and 4 kind of switched to the more polygonal sprites, which I think didn't age quite as well. But yeah, I think this game looks still great today. So yeah, I definitely think that deserves to be re-released. You know, Breath of Fire 4 got a re-release recently, so I hope that Breath of Fire 3 will get it sometime.
Holy crap.
It's my personal favorite out of the series. So yeah, well, I mean, what can I say? It's just a great all-around RPG, so it deserves to be in a top 30 list or a top 25 list. But here it is, my top 25 actually. And if you guys haven't checked out the Breath of Fire games, definitely check them out.
100 HP.
They definitely deserve a bit more love. Right, so number 23 is Live Alive Remake. So Live Alive is originally a Super Nintendo Japanese RPG that was never released here in the West. Then there was fan translations, of course, and I'm talking about fan translations. It got officially released in the West with Live Alive Remake, which is a remade version of it back in 2022. And this is using Square Enix's Octopath Traveler engine. So you guys look, so you can kind of see like it has 2D sprites but on a 3D background, which makes it look really cool. So yeah, it's got this beautiful looking interface because they're using Octopath Traveler's type of graphics, and I like this better than Octopath Traveler 1 and 2 by a little bit. I mean, those are good games too, but I prefer Live Alive Remake. I mean, yeah, to me this is like, it's got beautiful like this retro modern type aesthetic to it where they have a 2D sprite on a 3D background. Square Enix does this really well. They use this for Project Triangle Strategy as well. But yeah, Live Alive Remake. I like the original game. I played it on Super Nintendo with the fan translation, so of course I think the remake looks better. And yeah, it's interesting. It's almost like a saga series where you can choose many different stories and many different characters. So I played as many different characters, and they all have their own adventures and stuff, and their stories all get entwined together at the end and stuff. But each of them kind of has their own unique parts to it and unique attributes. So it's just a fun game to play in terms of being. You can choose just a few different unique characters, I think, and that just makes it very unique. I mean, look at this guy. This story for this guy, it plays more like a fighting game, right? Like a Street Fighter type of game. So each of these characters just kind of has their unique type of story and type of gameplay to them. And I think there's this ninja guy too. Where is he? Yeah, there's this ninja guy too, and his gameplay story is a little bit different as well. But the combat is always like almost like this tactical grid type of combat. So yeah, very yeah. So yeah, it has this tactical grid combat system. So yeah, very unique RPG. I like the original game, and I like the remake even better. So highly recommend the remake to you guys. I don't know how popular this game is. When it was, you know, even the remake when it came out, I don't think a lot of people know about it. It was reviewed well, but yeah, again, to me, this was, yeah, one of the best RPG remakes of recent years. I love this remake. It's a great game too. So the gameplay is very diverse, and characters are all very interesting. Alright, so number 22 is that other great Dreamcast RPG I was talking about. So remember I said there's two great Dreamcast RPGs that everyone should know about. One is Grandia 2, which I've already talked about in this video, and Skies of Arcadia is the other one. Yeah, so Skies of Arcadia. What can I say about it? This should have been on IGN's list, I think, in my opinion. What's great about this game is, yeah, the 3D polygonal art, okay, probably doesn't age that well now because it's early 3D, but the gameplay is still great. Characters and story, the sense of exploration you get in this game, because you get to fly an airship, right, across a fantasy land. I mean, you got to be a sky pirate essentially. So that's just a really great feeling, and I think anyone who's played this game as a kid know what I'm talking about, right? Like just flying this flying pirate ship, and being able to explore and everything. It's almost like the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker in that sense, right? It's like you had that feeling of being able to explore, but you're in the fantasy RPG setting, right? And you get to be a sky pirate. And yeah, you're in the clouds with these like beautiful floating continents with waterfalls and everything around you, and yeah, overall the sense of adventure in this game is great. So yeah, and character, story, you know, music, everything is great too. So I do think this is one of the standout games for the Dreamcast, and of the era actually. So like in 2000, yeah, probably definitely one of the standout RPGs of its time. I haven't played the GameCube version. Maybe that's enhanced in some way. The Skies of Arcadia, I think they released an enhanced port for the GameCube, but I didn't play the GameCube version. I played the original Dreamcast version here. But yeah, overall, this has to make my list because it's very memorable. Now, whenever I think about flying airships and pirate ships, I think of Skies of Arcadia. It's just what I go back to. You know, there is other games, other RPGs that use that, right? Even Mega Man Legends 2 use that. But it always goes back to Skies of Arcadia for me when I think about sense of adventure and exploration on floating continents and everything. This is the game I think about when I go back to. So yeah, a lot of great memories playing this game actually. So anyways, Skies of Arcadia has to be making my list. I think anyone who's played this game knows how great it is. Alright, so speaking of games where you have the sense of adventure roaming around on a flying, in this case a flying dragon, let's talk about Panzer Dragoon Saga. So this game is probably widely considered to be the greatest RPG on the Saturn, and one of the greatest games on the Saturn, period, not just RPGs. So this game, I don't think many people played this game back in the day, because it didn't sell a lot. And this was an expensive game. It's even more expensive now, and came out on a system that didn't sell very well in North America. It sold fairly well in Japan. I mean, actually, Saturn had almost all its sales in Japan, but North America didn't really get much traction. So that's why it's quite difficult to find like an actual English copy of Panzer Dragoon Saga that's worth a lot now. But yeah, what can I say about this game? Anyone who's played this game, and I think you'd probably have to play it on an emulator now, unless you want to spend tons of money getting the original and a Saturn. Yeah, it's a great game. What can I say? It's so the original Panzer Dragoon games are like kind of like rail shooter games, but then the rail shooting stuff is replaced by really RPG combat, and it just works, right? You have this the flying dragon or dragoon or whatever you want to call it, and it just works. They did it well. They implemented the system well with combat, and yeah, it's overall very fluid. And the fact that you could fly around right on this dragon thing and explore, and you have like these flying creatures and everything, like that thing, right, that was attacking me here. Very interesting combat system, right? And so they do combine aspects of the rail shooter style, but in an RPG system, and I think they did a great job at that. And overall, very memorable, you know, story and characters and everything. Just a game that more people need to check out, I think. Because I think the people who played Panzer Dragoon Saga knows how great it is, but because it wasn't, like, it didn't sell a lot, and it was on a console that not many people had in North America, yeah, that's what makes it kind of underappreciated at times. And this game should have been on IGN's list, but it didn't make it. But yeah, it should have been, because it is a great RPG, and yeah, I think more people should check it out. I really do think that, you know, if there's a way to remaster it, re-release it, I really hope so, but apparently the original source code has been lost, so I don't know what's up with that, if they'll ever recover that or something, but I do think that more people should have a chance to check out this great RPG, because Panzer Dragoon Saga needs to be experienced by more people. It's, yeah, it's overall a great game. One of the best games for the Saturn, not just for RPGs, but one of the best for the Saturn, one of the best RPGs of its time. So anyone who's played it knows how good it is. So yeah, Panzer Dragoon Saga has to make my list. So more people need to check it out. Also, I heard the graphics in this game are one of the best that you could get for Saturn. They basically push the Saturn to its limits. So technologically wise, it's a very innovative game as well. Number 20, Monster Hunter Rise, and this is going to be my pick for Monster Hunter. I think Rise is my favorite Monster Hunter game. I know a lot of people like Monster Hunter World, but for me, I like Rise a lot. Maybe because of the Japanese setting and everything. The graphics are probably some of the best I've seen on Nintendo Switch.
The Knight's pretty nice looking too.
Yeah, it's hard for me to think of a better looking game on Nintendo Switch. But Monster Hunter Rise, really beautiful looking game. Even though it's kind of like, I played on the Switch, so it's kind of like hampered by the Switch's graphical capabilities, but even then I can still tell it's a beautiful looking game, especially in this like traditional Japanese setting. And I think that's what made me take it over World. Monster Hunter World's also a great game, but I think I like the Japanese setting of Rise better. But otherwise, it's your standard Monster Hunter game, so that means before you go slay a monster, you have to prepare your items and everything, then you go on a quest, and it's usually just to hunt for a monster. And the combat's pretty satisfying, actually. Yeah, pretty satisfying to have to like take down some of these bigger monsters. Like, yeah, this one, pretty solid combat mechanics, I'd say. So.
That is the monster. See how much damage it does?
Yeah, so it's pretty solid combat mechanics and everything, and love the setting, being kind of traditional Japanese setting, and love the graphics. So this is probably my favorite Monster Hunter game. So anyways, makes my list at number 20 here. Alright, number 19 is Phantasy Star 4, released in 1995 for the Sega Genesis in North America, that is. Yeah, I think this is my favorite Phantasy Star game. So all the OG Final Phantasy Star games I think are pretty good, but 4 is probably my favorite. It's just a really, really well-designed game. I mean, the characters, the story, the combat system is very distinct, as you guys can see. It's from a first-person perspective, kind of looking ahead. I know Dragon Quest is like this too, but I would say this is like Dragon Quest and Phantasy Star both kind of started this type of RPG combat. It's a brutally difficult game, just like most of the Phantasy Star games. But still, I mean, this story, I mean, this very emotional story. Eventually, you end up losing one of your main characters and stuff. But yeah, like, love the story of this game, and the combat is challenging but satisfying. And yeah, the characters, like eventually you get attached to the characters and stuff. It's an emotional story, right? And like in this town, like people got turned to stone and stuff. Yeah, kind of had to solve that. And this is being a sci-fi setting as well, because Phantasy Star is a sci-fi RPG. Also makes me kind of interested as well, not just your typical like fantasy setting. So yeah, I always like sci-fi settings, and this is one of the, I think the original Phantasy Star was the very first sci-fi RPG. But yeah, Phantasy Star is kind of like the OG sci-fi RPG series. Yeah. So anyways, highly recommended. I know, how many times, I don't think it's been really re-released too much. I think there might have been a version on the Game Boy Advance. But overall, yeah, this is the original, I like the original Genesis version. I mean, if you guys can, like, you know, pick it up or play or emulate it or something, I highly recommend it, because Phantasy Star 4, man. Any of the Phantasy Star games, but especially number 4 is probably my favorite. It's difficult because it's an old school JRPG, but still, love the story, graphics is very charming, and characters and stuff, and combat system very satisfying, so love this game. Okay, so number 18 is Shining Force 2. So Shining Force is the tactical RPG series for the Genesis. So far as I know, they haven't really made any new Shining Force games since the Genesis era. But actually no, they made Shining Force 3 for the Saturn. But anyways, they haven't made any new Shining Force games since the Saturn, I think. I like Shining Force 2 the best, just personal. I played all of them, like Shining Force CD, the remake of the original game on Game Boy Advance, Resurrection of the Dark Dragon, I mean, and Shining Force 3 on Saturn. So yeah, I played all the Shining Force games. I think number 2 is still kind of my favorite. Yeah, so it's like a tactical RPG series. You can kind of think of it as similar to Fire Emblem. A little bit different though, because you know, Fire Emblem is really just about having that tactical battles and stuff, and then you have kind of visual novel type of interface as well. But Shining Force is kind of like, it plays more like a traditional RPG when you're wandering around town. Then when you get into combat, then that's when it becomes more like a Fire Emblem type of tactical RPG. But yeah, then you can look at the combat system here.
It looks like HP and MP is recovered after.
It's a very distinctive type of combat system. You can see them.
I don't have to keep using items to heal.
Yeah, you can kind of see like this battle animation going on, like this.
You don't recover
so
your HP
very cool battle animation.
Battle, so
it's
then you gotta like keep
pretty distinctive to Shining Force. Developer of Shining Force is Camelot, which will later go on to develop Golden Sun. So some aspects of this combat system goes to Golden Sun as well later on, and Golden Sun also appears later in this video, by the way. But yeah, Shining Force, you know, great tactical RPG. I love going back to Shining Force 2 especially. Love this game, one of my favorite tactical JRPGs to play. Okay, so number 17 is Pokemon Emerald for the Game Boy Advance. I played this a lot back in the day. When I had a Game Boy Advance, I actually played on emulation. But I think this is my favorite Pokemon game, right? I said just one game per franchise. Yeah, I would take it over Pokemon Crystal. Pokemon Crystal was really good too. That was probably my second favorite. But I'm going with Emerald. It's a generation newer. It adds some new Pokemon and stuff. Better graphics than Gold and Silver and Crystal, of course. So add some new features, but it didn't bog it down too much. I felt like the later Pokemon games after Diamond and Pearl, they kind of ran out of ideas for the Pokemon, and it just wasn't as interesting anymore. Because it's just, the formula really got stale. So I think by the second, third generation I think is where it's like, okay, you added some new Pokemon, but it doesn't feel like it's overdone. Whereas I feel like after Diamond and Pearl, it got kind of overdone, and yeah, they just ran out of ideas. I mean, the Game Freak ran out of ideas, and then the whole Pokemon type of story and plot just kind of got old and stale. But I think at this time, Pokemon Emerald is really where Pokemon was at its peak. Especially Crystal and Emerald, I think. Pokemon Crystal, like, I'm talking about like early 2000s, mid 2000s, this is when Pokemon peaked, I think. I know Red and Blue and yeah, Yellow, that's where everyone remembers, but that was the first generation that was super popular. I think that Pokemon peaked in the second or third generation. Yeah. I think gameplay mechanics and everything just kind of peaked back then. Did I just catch this Tailo? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so and the core thing about Pokemon is it started kind of a craze, and the whole monster catching thing started with Pokemon. But yeah, this is probably my favorite Pokemon game. I have a lot of good memories with Emerald. I did beat this game before, back then. So, the signature Pokemon of this game being Rayquaza, one of the most powerful Pokemon.
Getting experience for that?
But yeah, fun game. I like playing on Pokemon Emerald. Yeah, it's to me the peak Pokemon game. Right, so number 16 is Treasure of the Rudras. This is a Japan-only Super Nintendo RPG that never came over to the West, unfortunately. It's by Squaresoft, and it's actually Squaresoft's last title that they developed on the Super Nintendo.
The entire world is polluted.
And for, yeah, a lot of the games from this era on Super Nintendo never actually came to the West, unfortunately. But I remember when I played Treasure of the Rudras, this was actually, I was shocked how good this game is, and it's kind of a shame it never came to the West, because it is such a great game. So Treasure of the Rudras, you can actually choose between three protagonists initially, and then another protagonist after you've progressed far enough with those three. So you can choose multiple protagonists. That's something we've seen before in Trials of Mana, Romancing Saga 3. So that by itself is not like really groundbreaking. What's the groundbreaking part for me, I find, is that the stories for all these characters are entwined really well. Once you get far enough, you progress far enough with one character, you'll be asked to continue the story like with another character, and they do affect each other. Like how you progress with one character affects how you progress with the other. And overall, I really love how the story is like so entwined, is so cohesive, and eventually the fourth character comes in as well. And graphics and everything. This is a late Super Nintendo game, so as you would expect, the graphics are really nice. And it's classic Squaresoft. I mean, you have kind of Final Fantasy-like battles with amazing looking bosses and stuff like that. Yeah, and I feel like because I'm not going to have Final Fantasy VI on this list, because I have to choose, just one. I put this limitation for myself for this video, just choosing one game per franchise. So unfortunately, Final Fantasy VI is not going to be on this list. Sorry, guys. But in place of that, I think Treasure of the Rudras, like, to me, it's pretty up there. I'm not sure if it's like exactly FF6 level, but I definitely think that everything, the sprite work and the story and everything is right up there with FF6. But just in Treasure of the Rudras, you progress all these character stories at once.
What the heck's going on there?
Kind of like,
what the heck?
Yeah, they entwine with each other and everything. And just overall great RPG. Like, I think this made my... I had a list of... I ranked a list of the best Super Nintendo JRPGs that never got an official translation, and I think Treasure of the Rudras might have been on top, actually. So I mean, that means I pretty much gotta have it on this list, right? It's just a great game. What can I say? Graphics, soundtrack, story, different characters and everything.
Butterflies that being
yeah, they were all really fully fleshed out, well developed.
Okay.
I highly recommend people check it out. Like Treasure of the Rudras. It's unfortunate that Square pretty much. Like they released some of their titles over to the West finally, like Live Alive, Romancing Saga, Trials of Mana, but they have such a great backlog of RPGs that have never come to the West. A lot of stuff by Squaresoft and Enix still. So I implore Squaresoft to go into their back catalog and release some of their later titles like Bahamut Lagoon and Treasure of the Rudras especially. Alright, so number 15 is Lunar Eternal Blue, and this is the HD remaster that came out recently that I'm highlighting in my video right now. Yeah, it's a great way to play it. I always felt like the Lunar games, like there are like the dedicated fans of Lunar games, but I always felt like they kind of got a little bit overlooked in favor of more well-known series like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest and stuff. But I always felt like, yeah, the Lunar games always were up there, especially like the first game did get a lot of remakes and remasters, actually, Silver Star Story, and that's a great game, but I personally liked Eternal Blue more. Yeah, I just felt like, although they're both great games, I always felt like just Eternal Blue, I think the story and the characters resonated with me a bit more. I just had more fun playing Lunar 2. But yeah, they're both Lunar 1 and Lunar 2 are really good games. Just if I had to pick one, I'd pick Lunar 2 actually. And now with the high definition, remastered version, now it's much easier to play it now. Because previously, the only way to play it would have been on an older system, right? Either the Sega Saturn or the Sega CD or PlayStation. But all those are older systems, right? Or you had to emulate it. So yeah, it didn't really get a release on modern consoles basically until now. But yeah, what can I say about this game? The graphics and everything are great because it's the 2D classic graphics, right? So it aged really well actually, because compared to other PS1 games, which are using like early 3D type graphics, those didn't age quite as well. This one did because it was using the 2D sprites and everything. You got some great animated cutscenes here, like as you guys can see here. Yeah, I mean, just
She's
overall
totally OP. 777
yeah,
HP.
you got this girl
Oh my God.
Lucia who's completely OP at the beginning of the game. But yeah, overall, the graphics are great, especially in this remastered version.
He thinks that he
And
can protect her, but
combat
actually,
system's your classic
you can just do very
JRPG
well by
turn-based
yourself.
combat. And yeah, overall, it just has a lot of charm. And yeah, it was
amazing. Just amazing.
definitely one of my
Do not
favorite
interfere.
PS1 RPGs. Now, it wasn't my top, right? I actually did a whole list of my favorite
Everywhere.
PS1 RPGs, so it wasn't like necessarily my favorite, but it was up there, right? You got so many great PS1 RPGs, but Lunar 2 is definitely still up there. Yeah, it just has a lot of charm.
That's too
That's what
bad
I like
Lucia
about it.
can't
The
do
characters, the story, graphics, music, gameplay. It just has a lot of charm to it. So yeah, just I felt like everything about Lunar 2 was just a little bit better than Lunar 1. I liked it a little
Yeah,
bit
it's
better.
too bad. We only
So,
got to see
anyways,
her
that's why I has to make
power
my
for just a little
my top
bit.
30 list, actually my top 15 list. So here it is at number 15. And yeah, if you guys haven't played Lunar before, definitely check out Lunar 1 and 2 with the new remastered collection. It's definitely a great way to check it out. Alright, so number 14 is Xenogears. This is another great JRPG for the PS1. And I know I just said that, 3D JRPGs from this era doesn't hold up very well. Xenogears is kind of an exception. It is a 3D JRPG, but it's done in kind of like the cel-shaded style. So I think it still holds up pretty well. And yeah, this is a Monolith Soft game, I believe, before they made Xenosaga and Xenoblade. And they never made a sequel to this game, like, not like exactly a direct sequel. They made like the other Xeno games, but they're not exactly like direct sequels to this game. But Xenogears is a great game. I think anyone who plays this would know. It's just a great game. The character, the story, it's a very emotional story. It's a game where the combat system is pretty like, for a combat system, it's almost like a fighting system. Like, not quite as complex as like something like Legend of Legaia, for example, is the one I think of when I think of like, oh, that combat system is really good. That's like a fighting game. Xenogears almost has that, not quite to the level of Legend of Legaia, but does have that kind of combo-based fighting system here for the combat system. At the same time, there's also mechs in this game, so it's also a mecha game as well. That makes it pretty interesting. So it's like got multiple different types of genres in it. So yeah, just take a look at this combat system. It's got this combo type of combat system in here, the fighting combo combat system, which is really cool. Yeah, I still think that Xenogears is a pretty unique game. The combat system's unique, the story's emotional, and like you combine this with mecha as well. I mean, you got a classic on your hands, man. I really wish they would remaster, or re-release this, or remake this, like. Just get this out into a modern system, because I don't think Xenogears has ever been re-released or remastered or something. Yeah, like the way they did it with Star Ocean 2 recently, like, no. I don't know, like Xenogears deserves to have a re-release in some form or shape. Even Suikoden's getting a remaster, so hopefully we'll be able to play this someday on modern systems. But for now, yeah, you can only play this on PS1. But I love this game, everything about it, story, yeah. The story, the characters, yeah, the combat system, even the graphics hold up pretty well today for a 3D JRPG from back in the day. Just a great game, Xenogears. Okay, speaking of Star Ocean, Star Ocean Second Story R, the remake that came out recently, 2023. So yeah, this is my favorite Star Ocean game. Star Ocean is a Square Enix series of sci-fi JRPGs. And yeah, I think a lot of people, I know the third one, a lot of people do like the third one. I think it was Till the End of Time. But For me, I like Star Ocean 2 the most. I played Star Ocean 1 as well on the PSP version and the original Super Nintendo version. And it's also a great game in its own right, but I think Star Ocean 2 was my favorite. The PS1 game that originally came out, a lot of people loved it, I think. That's why I got 2 more remakes. They got one PSP one, which is the second departure, and this is the second remake, which is actually done using a the new Square Enix engine, which they have like these pixelated looking sprites, but on 3D backgrounds that looks really beautiful and nice. So I do think that Square Enix, if they do any future remakes of games like Chrono Trigger or Xenogears, or like, if they do any kind of future remake of any game, they should use this engine, because this is a beautiful looking engine. Yeah, so they did this for Star Ocean 2, and it worked out beautifully. I mean, just one of the most beautiful. I know this video doesn't do it justice because I was recording from my camera, but it doesn't do it justice, because when you actually see this game in person, it's one of the most beautiful Japanese RPGs I've played, this remake version. Love the engine that they use in this game. It's something like, it's not the Octopath Traveler engine, it's like they evolved it. Yeah, this is like an evolved form of the Octopath Traveler engine. But yeah, anyways, I'm just talking about the graphics. I'm gushing over the graphics because they're so beautiful, but that's not to say anything about the story, the characters, the combat system. It's all really nice in Star Ocean, and of course it's being a sci-fi RPG too, right? I'm into sci-fi settings, but you combine that with the great characters, memorable characters, and a memorable story, and you have pretty much one of the greatest JRPGs in my opinion. So yeah, Star Ocean 2. This is, to me, the best way to play Star Ocean 2. Just play the remake version that came out recently. Just a beautiful game. So, Star Ocean's Second Story R. Even the original PS1 game would have made this list, but now this remake version with the beautiful graphics, yeah, has to make this list. So, yeah, very beautiful game, and this combat system is your
semi-real-time battle system.
Semi-real-time battle system, yeah. It's kind of like that. But, alright, so number 12 is Persona 3 Reload, and yes, this is my pick for my favorite Persona game. I know a lot of people love Persona 4 and 5, and they're great games. Of course, I played Persona 4 Golden, Persona 5 Royal. Those are great games, arguably, you know, better than Persona 3 Reload in many ways. I think this is just like a personal thing for me, because I started playing Persona with Persona 3 back in, what was it, summer 2007 or 2008. I had a PS2 at that time. I played Persona 3 basically for the entire summer. Loved the game. Really got me into the Persona franchise, and yeah, Persona 3, I think why it resonates with many people is, first of all, it's got great art style even back then. The Persona 3 Reload, of course, looks much better than the original game, because the original game was a PS2 game. But even the original game, yeah, the graphics are still pretty charming. The storyline was interesting. It was kind of like by daytime, the gameplay was like a mix of a social simulator and a dungeon crawler. Because daytime, it's like a social simulator. You build relationships with people. Then at night, it becomes a dungeon crawler game. So that's a pretty interesting mix and aspect of it. I also love the music, right? The music of Persona has always been great, and I think the soundtracks for Persona are some of my favorite JRPG soundtracks in any game. And yeah, I guess the evoker in Persona 3 really stands out, because it's a bit different than Persona 4 and 5. The evoker is kind of like this gun-shaped thing, and then that's how they summon their personas, by firing the gun at their head. And that's just kind of like a really cool, shocking but cool way of releasing Persona. So that's pretty cool. Turn-based combat and everything. Combat was pretty fun too, so everything's just very well done. Yeah, so Persona 4 probably was the better game, I would say. Also came out for PS2 originally. But Persona 4 probably had a more interesting main character, and side characters were also pretty interesting. Persona 4 probably had the more interesting characters and story. Persona 5, just a more polished, better game. But for me personally, I just have more memories of Persona 3. It's just a sentimental thing, and having the reload version as pretty much the definitive version of the game, because it just touches up the graphics and everything, and yeah, just everything looks amazing, like with Persona 3 Reload. I remember I played this on PS5, right? So when I played Persona 3 Reload, I was like, wow, this game looks amazing, even though I know it's originally from a PS2 era. How they touched it up and everything is great. I mean, and all the characters look really good. So in environments and everything, it's got this really smooth, polished, cel shaded type of design. So yeah. Anyways, I love Persona 3, and I played Persona 3 FES before, which I think was previously my favorite version of Persona 3. Was the HD FES version released for PS3. But now the Reload version is pretty much my go-to. I think if you guys want to play Persona 3, it's very accessible right now as the Reload version. So yeah, and it looks beautiful. So you know, why not? I know Persona 4 and 5 are technically the better games, but yeah, for me personally, I'm going to go with Persona 3. Yeah, just my introduction to the Persona franchise. Yeah, the characters, music, graphics, combat system, everything. Right, so number 11 is going to be an old school Super Nintendo action RPG called Terranigma. So Terranigma was the third and final part of a trilogy of RPG games that the company called Quintet made for Enix. They made Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, and they made Terranigma. And Terranigma, unfortunately, was never released in North America. It was only released in Europe, in Japan, of course, but yeah. It's too bad because like this is a brilliant game. They never re-released this game in North America. I don't know why. For some reason, like just Square Enix has never re-released this game. It has never officially come out in North America, and yeah, you just have to play the European version, I guess. It's very beautiful, charming game. It's got beautiful art. So this is your typical 16-bit era graphics and stuff. It's got beautiful soundtrack to it. The storyline is very emotional and deep in this game. So yeah, this was one of the games I played a lot when I was a kid too. Yeah, this is right up there with, I mean, some of the best Super Nintendo JRPGs. It's certainly up there, and it's actually my top 5 overall JRPGs, not just for the Super Nintendo. It's an action RPG. It's not turn-based, but you basically go to all these towers, right? Like you see here, go to all these towers, and yeah, eventually you try to save the world. So it's just one of those saving the world games. But yeah, I really do like the storyline in this game is very deep and emotional, and yeah, like the combat and everything is pretty smooth, and I really do like everything about this game: the graphics, the art, the music. Yeah, it's just playing through like essentially like these dungeons here.
And this game, I think, is just as great as Secret of Mana. This is not.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite JRPGs from its era, and just one of my favorite JRPGs overall. I think Terranigma is one that definitely deserves to be re-released at some point. I don't know why Square Enix hasn't, but yeah, it definitely deserves a re-release. I love this game. So one of my favorite JRPG action. Like, I didn't have any. You notice I didn't have any Mana games right on this list. That's because I prefer Terranigma to any of the Mana games. I mean, as much as I love Secret of Mana, as much as I love Trials of Mana, I prefer Terranigma to those games. If you're talking about just give me like an action JRPG from the Super Nintendo era, yeah, I would probably pick Terranigma over Secret of Mana or Trials of Mana. So yeah, that's why I would say Terranigma for me was for me a better game than any of the Mana games from this era. So, sorry Secret of Mana fans, but to me I like Terranigma more. So that's why it's on this list, none of the Mana games. Alright, number 10 is just like a kind of a personal pick, and it's Golden Sun. Now, on its merits, yeah, it's probably not a top 10 JRPG. It's a very good JRPG. Objectively, probably not top 10. But for me, just personally, I love Golden Sun. I played it so much back in the day. Probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Game Boy Advance game. I mean, there's Advance Wars 2 and Fire Emblem, Six Stones, which are, and Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, which are all, you know, really great, incredible Game Boy Advance games. But yeah, Golden Sun, amazing game. Love this game. It's definitely for RPGs. I think this is the best RPG for the Game Boy. Well, I'd be remiss. I know there's Fire Emblem and Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, so I'm not gonna say like, overall the best JRPG. I'm gonna say like the best non-tactical JRPG for the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, I think that Golden Sun is really up there. It's developed by Camelot, the same developers of Shining Force, and you can kind of tell they had some influence with Shining Force in the design of this game. But yeah, I love the story of this game. Graphical style still very charming to play today because it's not really 2D, but it's got this
this is a very
it's got this kind of like retro 3D. It's got like this pixelated 3D style, let's just say.
But,
yeah,
I think
it's got
I know
pixelated 3D style, so it's not exactly like an early 3D game. Yeah, so it's got this 3D style to it. That's actually aged still pretty well, I think, because it kind of looks, it's like this pixelated 3D style, so it still aged pretty well, I think. Yeah, and everything about this game, it's like the graphics, the story, the characters. I really felt this game was one of, it was one of my favorites. So just a personal pick for me. Probably objectively, it's not a top 10 JRPG, but personal pick. You know, I played this a lot back in the day on Game Boy Advance, so definitely one of my favorite Game Boy Advance games. And just one of my favorite JRPGs to play. And the battle system, actually, remember when I said it's like Camelot developed this game, right? So, yeah, you go into a lot of these dungeons. There's a lot of dungeons in Golden Sun, a lot of grinding. That's the case for a lot of JRPGs, right? And there's these puzzles, right? A lot of puzzles to solve, as is the case in a lot of JRPGs. Yeah, so the combat system is reminiscent of Shining Force, I would say, like this. And you can tell that's where this type of combat interface, that's taken from Shining Force. So, and the menus and even the character portraits, the way that it's done, and even the sound effects are very reminiscent of the Shining Force series. It makes sense with the same developers. I really wish they would have another Golden Sun game. I don't think it's going to happen, but the last game was Dark Dawn for the DS, and there's never been a Golden Sun game since. These games haven't been remastered or re-released in any way, which is really a shame, because they're really great RPGs, so it's too bad we haven't really got a re-release or remaster of this game. Such a great game.
Not only funny, but
Golden Sun is my number 10 pick. Yeah, so tough. Alright, so number 9 is going to be Mother 3. This is part of the Mother series, and it is the sequel, I guess you could say, to Earthbound, which is Mother 2. So Mother 2, or Earthbound, that's the only one that was ever officially localized and released in the West. So, I don't exactly know why that is. Maybe Nintendo knows why. HAL Laboratories was the one who developed this game, which is part of Nintendo. So maybe only Nintendo knows why, but only Earthbound has ever been localized officially.
Oh, man.
So I'm playing Mother 3 with a fan translation patch here. But Mother 3 is, well, let's just say this. Earthbound is a great game. I know everyone knows that Earthbound is one of the greatest, it's one of the greatest JRPGs of its time, especially the Super Nintendo era. So I know a lot of people love Earthbound, right? It's such a unique JRPG. So Mother 3 is a bit different than Earthbound. I would say that, well, they're both kind of very quirky games, and they both have dark moments to it. There's a lot of philosophy and dark moments to the Mother series. So both Earthbound and Mother 3 are great games. I just prefer Mother 3 a little bit more. I think overall, I think Mother 3 is the more polished game. There is still a lot of issues with Earthbound. I think a lot of people have issues with Earthbound, even though it's a great game. But things have been like polished up, basically, Mother 3. And it's unfortunate that Mother 3 has never been released. It's only for Game Boy Advance. It's never been released on any other console, really. So it's kind of hard to play unless you use an emulator, which is pretty much the way you have to play. It's got a unique combat system, which is similar to Earthbound. It's kind of this first-person type of interface, but with a rolling HP counter. So it's pretty interesting. So it's pretty much got the same combat interface as Earthbound, which is very unique to begin with. But I think I like Mother 3's story and characters a little bit more than Earthbound's. And the game itself is just a little bit more polished than Earthbound's. But yeah, Earthbound is a great game. Mother 3 I just prefer a little bit more. So, yeah, anyways, if you have the chance, check this game out on the emulator, because I don't think it's ever going to be released officially in the West. I don't know why exactly. A lot of people have been asking for it. It's just one of those games that everyone has asked for it to be officially released and translated, but somehow Nintendo never does. It's a great game. Certainly one of the best RPGs on the Game Boy Advance. I know I said that Golden Sun was there, but Mother 3 really deserves consideration. Mother 3 and Golden Sun, I think, are probably the best traditional JRPGs on the Game Boy Advance. But yeah, just like with Earthbound, unique storyline, unique characters, very quirky, dark in many ways, but also, yeah, very interesting to play. Alright, number 8 is going to be Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. And yes, you guys may be surprised to know that this is my favorite Final Fantasy game. Yes, I know I had to pick only one game per franchise, so for Final Fantasy, I took Final Fantasy Tactics Advance over Final Fantasy VI, over Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy Tactics. Yeah, I took the advanced version. The reason why is because it's, again, more of a sentimental, personal thing. I had more fun with this game when it came out on the Game Boy Advance. I didn't get to play the original Final Fantasy Tactics when it came out. It was for PS1. Later on, I played the PSP version, War of the Lions. And Final Fantasy Tactics is a great game too. But still, something always brings me back to the advanced version. I still think the advanced version is a really nice game, and Final Fantasy Tactics gets its flowers a lot, right? Rightfully so, because Final Fantasy Tactics is all-time great. And of course, the mainline Final Fantasy games like Final Fantasy VI and 7 and 9, usually considered to be, or even 4 actually, these are considered to be the best ones. I know Final Fantasy 16 made a lot of people appreciate it too, but yeah, I actually prefer the Tactics, both the Tactics games actually, this one and the original Tactics, better than the mainline Final Fantasy games. I just prefer them. They both have great stories, great characters. So yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics for PS1 and PSP, like, these are great games. I just prefer to advance a little bit more just because of a sentimental thing, of a personal reason, just because I played this one more back in the day when it first came out. And you know, we always have preference for games that we played back when we were young, right? So that's pretty much the only reason. I know that Final Fantasy Tactics PS1 is, you know, that was considered to be, well, I would say this, I think both games are good. Yeah, but a lot of people do prefer the Final Fantasy Tactics over Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. But for me, I go with Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Just a personal thing, right? I just love the gameplay, of course, being a tactical RPG. Many things you can do in it, right? Just recruit characters, give them good jobs and classes, and level them up, and also got a great story too with it. So, yeah, great characters and stories. So, anyways, just a personal thing. That's why I prefer Tactics Advance. Yeah, I played this so much back in the day. Okay, so next is Fire Emblem Awakening, number 7. So out of all the Fire Emblem games, yeah, I think Awakening is probably my favorite, but it's a close, right? Because there's so many good Fire Emblem games. I think Sacred Stones ranks pretty high for me, because Sacred Stones was probably the one I played the most on Game Boy Advance. And there's still a lot of great things about the Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem games, because especially for the attack animations, I actually do prefer the Fire Emblem attack animations on the Game Boy Advance games. So Sacred Stones probably being the best Game Boy Advance game for Fire Emblem. Yeah, I think Sacred Stones was great. Three Houses, a lot of people like Three Houses. For me, I found like that Persona social aspect of it, I didn't like quite as much in Fire Emblem. I know that a lot of people love Three Houses, by the way. But for me, I wanted to focus more on the tactical combat, because that's what Fire Emblem is. And Three Houses kind of took away from that. And a lot of people like Path of Radiance as well. And I think Path of Radiance is also a really great Fire Emblem game. But for me, I am going to go with Awakening. This is the game that really saved the Fire Emblem franchise. Fire Emblem was like really, like, when Awakening came out, the developers were actually discussing like to stop the Fire Emblem franchise. Like, they were actually discussing to close the studio, stop making Fire Emblem games. At that time, Fire Emblem wasn't very popular, and Awakening really was the game that saved the Fire Emblem franchise. Yeah, it made people interested in Fire Emblem again. And you guys can see why. When you play Awakening, and I played this a lot back in the day, right? I beat this game for 3DS. Yeah, it's got the classic traditional Fire Emblem combat, but It's got great characters, great
Yeah, so
story,
anytime Chrome
in
or
addition to the
Robin
combat
dies, then
system
that's the
and
game
everything.
over,
So
right?
and plus
Because
it's
those are
very
just the
deep, right, with
characters.
the different classes and jobs and stuff. So yeah, overall, Awakening's just got everything. And I much prefer this
Just that they're freaking all ganged
to
up on
Fire
me.
Emblem Birthright and Conquest.
cheap.
Not to say Birthright and Conquest they're not bad games. They're still good Fire Emblem games. It's just that Awakening was better. Like the Awakening's characters were better. The story I just felt was better as well. I know with Birthright and Conquest, you had to kind of choose between two sides and stuff. But yeah, to me, like the Awakening characters were just more memorable. So I think Awakening was a better game for me. But yeah, Fire Emblem Awakening. This is probably my favorite Fire Emblem game. Just one of my favorite tactical games and one of my favorite JRPGs. So that's why it's in my top 10. Great game, one of the best 3DS games actually, especially talking about RPGs. Yeah, the only thing about it is I wish it had the 2D attack animation that was more charming from the GBA games. So number 6 is going to be Super Mario RPG. This is the remake version that just came out last year for the Switch. But yeah, Super Mario RPG, oh man, I remember playing this game so much back in the day on the Super Nintendo. And yeah, this game was great. I mean, it's not like the most difficult or challenging RPG, but it's certainly one of the most fun. And I don't think anyone thought or expected a Super Mario RPG like game to be this good. I mean, it was a collaboration done with Square, but man, they really hit it out of the park. I mean, they took everything that was like, they basically took the Mario universe and Mario world and added in the humor and everything, and also the combat system, the world building, the storyline, everything was done with the attention and polish that you expect from Square. So it's definitely, I think, one of Square's best games back in the day. They just happened to do this one with Nintendo, and it works so perfectly and so well in the Mario universe. So yeah, like all the characters and stuff, even though new ones introduced like Mallow and Gino, they just fit so well in the Mario universe. And I love that they did it with such humor. So it's a really fun game to play. This may not be the most, I would say, not the most challenging JRPG, but certainly it was one of the most fun JRPGs to play for me. And I love playing it. Great humor. Combat system is really good. It's done really well in a way that makes sense for Mario. Like Mario jumps on enemies, he smashes them with a hammer. You know, he doesn't use a sword or anything. So it makes sense. It does it in a way that makes sense. So I think that Nintendo and Square did such a good job on this game. And this remake is really the best way to play it now, because yeah, unless you want to get out an old Super Nintendo, like I think this remake is fine. It's probably the best way to play this game now. I'm really glad that it got a modern release, essentially. I hope that they do the same for like other Super Nintendo games. But yeah, Super Mario now RPG. Now you can get you can play it on modern systems with well, the Switch essentially with a remake. So yeah, guys, Super Mario RPG Remake. This game brings back a lot of memories to me. I played it a lot back in the day. Love this character's story. The music, I love the music from this game too. It's great. So yeah, everything, it's a masterpiece for me. Yeah, one of my favorite Mario games. I think it might be actually my favorite all-time Mario game in general. I know like Super Mario 64, Super Mario World, Galaxy, Odyssey, those are all great Mario games, but I might actually take Super Mario RPG as my favorite Mario game over them all. It just goes to show how great this game is. Right, so number 5 is Suikoden 2, and this is actually the remastered version I'm playing here right now on my channel. And man, I think they did a great job with the remaster. It's not just smoothing out the graphics a bit. They really enhanced it a lot without changing too much of the original. Right, they still keep the nice pixelated style of the original, but look at this, so beautiful, right?
These graphics are just
fantastic. Like they really enhanced the background graphics a lot, but still like up the resolution of the pixelated sprites and everything, and it just looks gorgeous. And of course, the classic gameplay Suikoden 2 is kept, and it is one of the all-time PlayStation 1 RPGs.
Yeah.
I think it was actually number 1 on my list of my favorite PS1 RPGs. And what can I say about it?
Like I said,
Suikoden 2 is my favorite of the Suikoden series. I mean, I know that IGN had the original Suikoden game, which is a great game, but I think the general consensus is that Suikoden 2 is a better game, right? Suikoden 2 is, yeah, it's great. Just like the other Suikoden games, you can recruit up to 108 characters in your party, which is a lot. And the reason for that is because the general basis of Suikoden games is on Outlaws of the Marsh, the ancient Chinese tale, or the ancient Chinese novel Water Margin. So it's based on that, which there were 108 outlaws. Of course, they're not exactly corresponding to the same outlaws as in the book. They took a lot of creative liberties, but the 108 characters that were recruitable really comes from that. The combat system is pretty unique, I'd say. You have this almost isometric viewpoint when you're fighting, and this is just a regular combat, but when you go into a larger scale combat, it changes into a different kind of perspective, which is really cool too. So yeah, and then add on to that the great story, great characters, music and everything, and of course now with the enhanced remastered high definition graphics. I mean, yeah, this is just a great game. Already was, you know, on my top 10 list really, but this remastered version is great. I recommend everyone check this one out. If you guys haven't played Suikoden 1 and 2, yeah, the HD remastered version is definitely the best way to play, I'd say, for now. Yeah, it just went up even more on my list because it just looks more beautiful than ever now. So just the ancient Chinese setting, based on the Chinese folklore tale, like Outlaws of the Marsh, and yeah, just everything, music, gameplay, the combat system, the graphics, the story, right, the characters, everything just has a lot of emotional weight to it as well. Overall, yeah, just one of my favorite Japanese RPGs.
Alright,
Suikoden 2, and now with the HD remastered version, right, definitely a great way to play it. Because previously, really you had to just either play it on the original PS1 or emulate it, you know. I think it was overdue for a remaster and a re-release, and I'm really glad that they got one, finally. Alright, so number 4 is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. This is a RPG series from Yakuza, and it's their newest entry actually. Just came out this year, 2024. And I think overall you can consider this an improvement over Yakuza Like a Dragon. Just adds more areas, more characters, more things to do. One of my friends doesn't like it because it doesn't have that difficulty spike that he really liked it about Yakuza Like a Dragon. Like a Dragon does have that difficulty spike, but Infinite Wealth doesn't. It's just like kind of a slow ramp in difficulty. But overall, still a great game. I think I like Infinite Wealth a bit better. I think most people do. Yeah, it's just, it improves, like, kind of expands upon Like a Dragon, which is already a really great RPG. Expands upon that, and you have everything else that's great about the Yakuza universe, you know? You have all these mini games and stuff, like all the crazy mini games and arcade games that you can play in it. And the recreation of Japan, which is really nice. Yeah, it's just like in all the foods and everything either, like, you know, they actually photographed each of the foods and put it in there. So it's actually pretty amazing. So yeah, I had to put Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth on here. I do think it's one of my favorite JRPGs. The characters are really interesting, and I've always preferred, I think I might not the only one, I think I've always preferred the Like a Dragon games to the mainline Yakuza game. So I guess this is now the mainline Yakuza game, but I should specify that I prefer these games to yeah, I prefer these games to the Kirikazuma-led games. Let's just say that. Yeah, the games that Kirikazuma were in, not quite as interesting because he's just too robotic of a character, I feel. Like, yeah, he doesn't really have much emotion, whereas the main character, Ichiban, from Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, actually has a personality and a character to him. And the fact that in this game you go from Japan, I mean, you go from Yokohama, which is where Like a Dragon was based, to Hawaii as well, is really cool. Yeah. So here I'm in Hawaii. I just got arrested by the police because some girl took all my clothes and stuff. Like, yeah, this is and Kira is actually in this game as well, as a supporting character. You can play as Kira in this game as well, but the thing is, Ichiban is such a more interesting character than Kira. Kira is just kind of a very robotic character. Yeah, he's honestly doesn't have too much of a personality. But the fact that you play in Hawaii in this game is really cool, like both Hawaii and Japan. I don't know many open world games where you can play in Hawaii. So yeah, definitely I think this game is one that you can play as yeah, in Hawaii. Yeah, and yeah, I like the combat system in this game is really good. But just the combination of everything, right? The story, you got the dramatic storyline of Yakuza combined with pretty good turn-based RPG combat, combined with you know, beautiful graphics, this being on the PS5 and everything, combined with the world of Yakuza, the mini games, and etc., and you have a winner. Yeah, this is just a great all-time JRPG for me. So, yeah, Yakuza, Like a Dragon here. Yeah, I really love this game. Probably my pick for probably one of my favorite games, if not the favorite game I played so far this year. Right, so number 4 is going to be Disgaea 5, and Disgaea 5 is this is part of the tactical RPG series Disgaea, and to me this is my favorite Disgaea game. I mean, I played Disgaea 4, I played Disgaea 1, I played Disgaea... Actually, I played Disgaea 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The only Disgaea I didn't play is 3.
So yeah, you can't even.
But Disgaea 5 is my favorite.
Your guys have to be so powerful. Like, I can't even spot.
It's so good. Like, the characters, the storyline, it's got the humor that NIS is known for. And Disgaea is pretty much like NIS's flagship RPG series anyways. Yeah, I really love it. Like, it doesn't take itself seriously, and at the same time, it's so deep. Like, you can go into the end game. Look at my characters, right? They have like 90,000, 70,000 HP, and like their attack does like 3,000, or the attack does like 30,000 damage. Like, you can go into the end game and you can level up your characters to the point where they do like millions and millions of damage.
That's like kind of a special thing.
That's amazing. For a game like to have such a deep end game. I mean, this end game is crazy. Like, basically, like the end game, you can keep on grinding and grinding. And I know a lot of people don't like the grind of Disgaea, but I feel like Disgaea 5, it sucked me in enough to where I got to the end game and I was able to level up my characters quite a bit. And everything, just, yeah, I loved everything about this game. The characers are funny, memorable.
So yeah, kill them all.
Yes, there's a lot of grinding, but it's worth it in my opinion. Yeah, just to get, you know, all these crazy attacks and like this crazy attack right here. Like, wow, that did how much damage? 200,000. Like 160
damage. Oh my guys.
Yes, the one of them did like 800,000 damage. Like,
so,
crazy,
yeah,
right? Just see all these crazy numbers popping in out of the screen.
Damage. Oh my god. Just
amazing.
So
yeah, this one did 100 and let's see how much damage is on here. 200,000. Nope, beyond 200,000 now. Oh.
Damn.
Oh, 200 is almost 260,000 damage just now. That's crazy.
Damn, 110k.
Wow.
He's dead.
Okay, so I mean, just to see all these crazy numbers pop out of the screen, oh my god. This penguin character, this Prinny, see how much damage he's doing. Oh my god, look at all these crazy ass attacks. Okay, he didn't do that much, but still, like, wow.
40,000. I mean, just to show you how much health these guys have. 40,000 is like nothing to them.
Yeah. I mean, at this point in the game, the end game, like, these guys have over 40,000 health easily. They have like 100,000, 200,000 health, I think, at this point. But, just shows you how crazy this guy can get, right? I mean, you see all these crazy numbers popping on the screen, because, yeah, you can just keep on playing this end game and grinding it, and there's so much you can do. Like, it just goes on forever. So it's such a deep game. I love it. Humor, the characters, the story, and the gameplay. So it's probably my favorite tactical RPG, actually. I think it's the highest one on this list. Yes, I'm taking it over Fire Emblem, and I'm taking it over, yeah, I'm taking over all the Fire Emblem games and Final Fantasy Tactics as well. So, yeah, ended up being my favorite tactical RPG, I guess. Alright, number 2 is Elden Ring. And Elden Ring, what can I say? It's not only one of the greatest JRPGs, but just one of the greatest games in general. I mean, this game, wow. It's probably also the best open world game that I can think of, because, I mean, the world is so massive. And, yeah, you can just, like, the monsters are crazy, and no matter where you go in this world, you can find something really unique and special. So this game rewards you for discovery, essentially. Some, like a lot of open world games, like GTA. Let's take GTA, Red Dead Redemption, for example. Those open world games, or Skyrim even. Like, you take those open world games, or Witcher 3, like...
Oh no.
Yeah, like, you take those open world games, and yeah, there's a lot to do, right? A lot of places to go, but in those areas, like you go, there might not be always something.
Yeah, I guess
whereas
Valve as well. I don't
in
know,
Elden
like,
Ring, I feel
Valve
like
there
no
has
matter
that
where
bad?
you go, and
I think so. I mean,
no
the
matter
worst
where
thing
you
could
go
probably
to in
say
this
is,
world,
like,
there's
Counter-Strike
always something
Condition
for you.
Zero.
There's always something that you can see or
That's not
do,
even
or
that
some
bad. It's
secret.
just, it wasn't that impressive, like,
And
compared to,
it's
you
a
know,
sense of
original Dark Souls.
exploration, I
Half-Life
guess,
Episode
in
1.
this game. But you
Yeah,
combine
not bad,
that
yeah.
beautiful
Not
open
good as
world
the
with
other
amazing looking
It's not bad.
monsters, and you combine that
Yeah.
with solid combat. Like the combat's, you know, in FromSoft games is well known for being difficult, challenging,
Yeah, I'm
but
gonna
rewarding.
go away.
So
This guy's gonna have to
yeah, you
fire.
combine this beautiful open world with challenging but rewarding combat, and you have one of the greatest games of all time. I mean, I do think Elden Ring probably a top 20 game of all time for me. So of course it's going to be in my top 2 JRPGs of all time because yeah, it's that good. It's an amazing game. Graphics and everything, the creatures. Yeah, I mean, like the combat in this game is wow. If you're not careful, you die so easily, right? But no matter what, I keep on trying, kept on trying because it's rewarding at the end of the day.
Poor God.
You usually, if you kill these guys, you feel a sense of accomplishment because, yeah, you worked hard for it. That's the thing. It's like difficult, but not to the point where it's impossible, and that really makes you want to keep going, killing these guys, right? I think one of the bosses in this game took me and my brother 116 tries to kill, like just crazy stuff like that. But we kept going because it was worth it. Like it just made us kept wanting to come back over and over to try again. That's just how beautiful, how rewarding this world was. So yeah, that's why I had to put Elden Ring here. Yeah, this is actually the very last end boss here, which is Gradragon in Elden Ring.
Nice dagger.
Yeah. Yeah, everything's just so rewarding in this game. Love it. It's probably one of my favorite open world games, and if not my favorite, and then just one of the best JRPGs and one of the best games in general. Elden Ring is it's so finely crafted, so beautifully done and executed. So everything, the characters might be the only issue because I know the characters in FromSoft games are not that fully fleshed out or developed. So the characters might not be the most interesting, but certainly the in the story actually, the story and the characters for sure I think are not as fully fleshed out as other games. But for sure the gameplay and
I knew he was gonna do that.
and the world building in this game is amazing, top notch. So yeah, combat and world building. I think the only thing that Elden Ring needed really was character development and story, but that's pretty much the issue with a lot of FromSoft games. So it's not perfect, but certainly it is close to perfect.
I know, that's the thing.
Oh,
It's like by the time we get to Elden Ring, he's ready to use so much.
let's see if we're gonna beat this guy here, or if we died or not.
God, I don't know. I'm out of potions.
Oh yeah, you keep on rolling and dodging this guy. Right? Oh yeah, there we go. We killed him. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, very rewarding.
So many potions left.
Oh wait, my number 1 JRPG of all time is Chrono Trigger. This game came out in 1995 for Super Nintendo. It is considered to be probably most people one of the greatest games of all time, not just for RPGs, not just for JRPGs, but just one of the greatest games of all time. Chrono Trigger, why is this such a great game? So first of all, I have to explain that compared to Elden Ring, of course, it's not as difficult as Elden Ring. In fact, Chrono Trigger is not really a difficult RPG, I would say. It's at the right difficulty level. It's not like very challenging, but it's not like I wouldn't say it's a game that's like very easy to beat, but it's not very hard either. So I think it's just at the right difficulty, and actually that makes it accessible to more people, I think. So yeah, I mean Chrono Trigger, I think many people would know, like if they're into JRPGs, what makes this game great, right? So it's got a great story, it's got great characters, great character development. Graphics still hold up to this day because it's 2D, 16-bit graphics. Yeah, the writing in this game is amazing. Just combat style is done really well. Music is very memorable, one of my favorite soundtracks of any video game. Yeah, it's actually hard to imagine what Chrono Trigger doesn't have, because really I think Chrono Trigger is everything. It's hard to imagine any flaw for a game. If you were to tell me like the closest to being a perfect game, Chrono Trigger is one of those games where it's as close to being perfect as you can imagine. Like, yeah, it has everything. A world to explore. It has characters that you really care about. Character development. It has a story that's emotional and engaging. It has the combat that's satisfying. It has this music that, you know, that's everything in this game. The art style, like, it's as close to being as perfect of a game as possible. So, just one of the, not just the greatest JRPG in my opinion, but one of the all-time greatest games in general. So, I think this is probably considered to be Squaresoft's magnum opus, or Square's magnum opus. I know a lot of people like FF7 and whatever, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 6, but for me, it's definitely Chrono Trigger. Yeah, I know there's a debate about Final Fantasy 6 versus Chrono Trigger, but for me, Final Fantasy 6 wasn't really even my favorite Final Fantasy game. That was Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. So, yeah, I'm definitely taking Chrono Trigger over it. It's just it's a masterpiece. Chrono Cross is a good game in its own right, but it's not Chrono Trigger for me. This game just hits hard when I was in my childhood, and I played this game so much. I loved this game so much when I was a kid. I even made a website when I was a kid devoted to this game when I was in high school. Yeah, I made 3 websites back then. Actually, when I was in high school, I made one for actually when I was in elementary school, I made one for Dragon Ball Z, my favorite anime at the time. I made one for Laro, which was one of my favorite DOS games at the time. That's a shooter, and I made one for Chrono Trigger because this was a game I loved back then. So I made a shrine site for it. They call it shrine sites back then. So yeah, that tells you how much influence and impact this game had. I love this game so much I made a website for it back then when I was a kid. So yeah, love this game. All-time great game. So man, the soundtrack is even hearing the soundtrack brings me back. So I know this is a bit of a personal bias, but this is my personal list, right? I told you guys this is my personal ranking. I'm putting Chrono Trigger number 1. Just a game I had so many memories of when I was a kid. I loved so much. As close to a perfect game as you can imagine. So the only thing is I can see like some people saying it's not hard enough. It needs to be a bit harder. But you know what? Whatever, man. Like to me, this was the perfect game. So that's it, guys. Chrono Trigger and my whole top 25 JRPG list. Let me know what you guys think of my ranking and what you guys would pick. I know I left out a lot of games for you guys. There's no Mana games. There's no FF6. FF7's not on here either. I know like that. Probably you guys will have probably those games on the list, but for me, it's my list. So, anyways, yeah. And let me know what you guys think about this list. No Skyrim because I put Oblivion on it instead. But yeah. My top 25, sorry, not Skyrim, but that's a Western RPG, but I don't have that on my Western RPGs list anyways. So, anyways, let me know what you guys think of my list. As always, thanks for watching.